Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible and visible? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, Yasin, I'll answer that. Hold on. Good morning, everybody. Am I audible and visible? Good morning, Edward, Brajneet, Purva, Yasin, Divyani, RB Jagani. Yeah, audible and visible. All clear. Let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Stephen, Kavi, Pranit. A very good morning to all of you. So yesterday, I began with medieval Indian history. I gave an overview of medieval Indian history. Medieval India is a period of 1,000 years, as we have seen yesterday. We divide medieval India for the sake of convenience into two parts: early medieval India and then later medieval India. And in early medieval India, I have covered a few topics: Shankaracharya and his philosophy of Advaita. Then, of course, the Arab conquest of Sindh in 712 AD and the effect of the Arab conquest of Sindh. Then we came to the triangular conflict for Kannauj between the Palas, Pratiharas, and the Rashtrakutas, the so-called tripartite struggle for Kannauj. Yeah, hello, all of you. Good morning. Audible and visible. Can I begin? Can I begin? Okay, great. Thank you, Manpreet. So here we discuss all these things: early medieval India, later medieval India. I gave you a timeline, a bird's eye view of that will be done, Stephen. Yesterday's PPT not uploaded. Backend team, please take care of that. So here, I discussed with Shankaracharya and his philosophy of Advaita. Then Arab conquest of Sindh, which happened in 712 AD. Then we came to the triangular conflict for Kannauj. So we were discussing the Rashtrakutas, but then I ran out of time. So let me continue from there. The triangular conflict for Kannauj between the Palas, Pratiharas, and the Rashtrakutas. So these powerful kingdoms, three of them, Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, competed with each other for domination over Kannauj. So we've looked at the various reasons for their fighting, supremacy over Kannauj, the rich resources of the Gangetic Valley, rich resources of the area between Banaras and South Bihar. So Banaras and South Bihar became the bone of contention between the Palas and the Pratiharas. We've seen that yesterday. Control over fertile areas of Gujarat and Malwa. So this area became the bone of contention between the Rashtrakutas and the Pratiharas. Lust for booty, desire to win laurels. So yesterday's class we began with Rashtrakutas. So we have discussed a few aspects of Rashtrakuta rule. So they were of Kannada origin. Their mother tongue was Kannada. They were patrons of Jainism. So most of their kings worshipped the Jain Tirthankaras. They believed in Jain tenets, but then they were also tolerant towards other religions, including Islam. We have Arab governors, Arabs being appointed as governors in various parts of the Rashtrakuta Empire. And these Arab governors testify as regards the tolerant policy followed by the Rashtrakuta kings. Um, of course, you have great developments in temple building. Particularly, they are known for rock cut temple architecture. In fact, they built the last rock cut temples in India. The greatest rock cut temple in the world is at Ellora, built by Krishna the First. This is the Kailasha temple at Ellora, which imitates the Kailashanatha temple at Kanchipuram, built by Krishna the First. So their capital was early capital was Ellora. Ellora is now in Maharashtra. Later, it was shifted to Manyakheta or Malkhed in the Kalaburgi district of Karnataka. So, so we have seen this. some of the important kings. Founder was Danti Durga, so he killed the last Badami Chalukyan ruler Kirtivarman II. So he killed Kirtivarman II and ended the rule of the Chalukyas of Badami and established the rule of the Rashtrakutas. He built two cave temples, one for Vishnu, the Dashavatara. Dasha is 10, as you know, 10 avatars of Vishnu. So the Dashavatara cave at Ellora, and of course the Ravana Kakhai. So this is a cave dedicated to Shiva. Then I told you the story surrounding this particular picture on your screen, Ravana Anugraha Murti. So then we came to Krishna the First. Krishna the First built the biggest or the largest rock cut temple in the world, the monolithic rock cut temple at Ellora. This is the Kailashanatha temple at Ellora. It's UNESCO World Heritage Site, right? Then then we came to Dhruva. So Dhruva, he conquered major parts of North and South India. He built one lake at Halebeedu called Dhruva Samudra. So when he attacked the Vengi Chalukyas, the Chalukyan king Vishnuvardhana IV offered his daughter in marriage to him, and he built one lake in Halebeed called Dhruva Samudra, and the word Dwara Samudra comes from there. So Halebeed, which became the capital of the Hoysalas later, also came to be called Dwara Samudra for that reason, after the lake built by Dhruva, which was called Dhruva Samudra. Then, so Rashtrakutas were great warriors. Their army was called Karnatabala. So, like the Chalukyas of Badami army was called Karnatabala, the Rashtrakuta army was also called by the same name. And um, Kannadigas generally are known to be peaceful. But when you look at the history, when you look back at the history, when you look at the Chalukyas of Badami, the Rashtrakutas, we see that they were very, very aggressive during those days, and they conquered many parts of North as well as South India. We have the Paramaras being defeated, the Palas being defeated, and down south we have the Western Gangas, and as well as the Pallavas being defeated by the Rashtrakutas. So you have Govinda the Third. We have the son of Govinda the Third. His name was, the son of Govinda the Third was Amogavarsha. So Amogavarsha's Sanjan copper plate inscription gives us a lot of information about the achievements of even his father Govinda the Third, and he's supposed to have conquered major parts of North as well as South India. Um, then, of course, we come to Amogavarsha. Yesterday, we were discussing Amogavarsha, Nrupatunga, also called Sarva. So he's popularly called Nrupatunga. So he ruled for the longest period of time among the Rashtrakuta kings, 64 years reign. So he is considered to be the greatest of the Rashtrakuta kings. 64 years is not a small joke. It's not a joke. It's a huge amount of years. He ruled 64 years. So you have the earliest Kannada book, the earliest existing or extant Kannada book is the Kaviraja Marga, which was written by Sri Vijaya, one of his court poets. So his court poet Sri Vijaya wrote the Kaviraja Marga, the earliest existing book in Kannada language. Earlier it was thought Amogavarsha wrote it, but now it is believed to be his court poet Sri Vijaya. He shifted the capital from Ellora to Manyakheta. As you know, he shifted the capital, Amogavarsha shifted the capital from Ellora to Manyakheta and made it his capital. He's called the Ashoka of Karnataka. He gave his daughters in marriage to various kings of various dynasties, the Pallavas, the Vengi Chalukyas, the Western Gangas, and that way he used matrimonial alliances to bring about peace between his various adversaries, right? And then, of course, he himself was a scholar. He wrote Prashnottara Ratnavali, or also called Ratnamala in Sanskrit language, right? And he's called the father of Kannada literature. So yesterday I stopped here. Let me continue. So we have the Sanjan copper plate. Sanjan copper plate is found near Thane, Maharashtra. Thane, very near to Bombay, very close to Bombay, or Mumbai as it is called now. So according to the Sanjan copper plate inscription, we are told that there was a drought. There was a drought in the Rashtrakuta kingdom, right? There was a drought in the Rashtrakuta kingdom, and the people of the Rashtrakuta kingdom were suffering because for many years there was no rain. So what Amogavarsha does is he goes to the Mahalakshmi temple at Kolhapur. So there's one temple in Kolhapur. Kolhapur is a a famous city in Maharashtra, Kolhapur, Kolhapur, right? Famous for Kolhapuri chappals. So there is, apart from Kolhapuri chappals, it is famous for this Mahalakshmi temple. So Mahalakshmi temple, right? Um, what is Jaggery? Okay, Jaggery. Jagani says Jaggery. I don't know that. Anyway, so here we have this famous Mahalakshmi temple here. So there is a story around this temple also. Let me tell you the story. You see, we have Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has two wives, Padmavati and then Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is his favorite wife. The story goes that there was one short-tempered sage called Brigu. So there was this sage called Brigu who wanted to test the Trimurtis. He wanted to test the Trimurtis, that is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, as to who is the most forgiving amongst the three. So he wanted to perform a yaga or a penance or rather sacrifice on this earth. And he wanted to invite whoever wins in this particular test of his. So he wanted to test the Trimurtis, either Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, as to who is the most forgiving amongst the three. So I believe he goes to Kailas, and there he tests Shiva. Shiva loses the test. He fails in the test. Then he goes to Brahma. Brahma also loses. Then he is on the way to Vaikunta. Vaikunta is the headquarters of Vishnu, according to mythology, right? So, and Vishnu is with his favorite wife Lakshmi on the Shesha Nag. You have the serpent king Vasuki. So you have the bed with a snake bed on which Vishnu is lying down, and Lakshmi is with him, giving him a leg massage, and husband and wife are not chatting with each other. So Vishnu knows that this Brigu is on the way; he's coming to meet him. So here, what happens is the door of the Vaikunta, I believe, was closed, and Brigu comes and waits for Vishnu to come out of the room, come out of their private chamber. 1 day over, 2 days over, 3 days over. So 3 days he waits, and still Vishnu and Lakshmi don't come out of their chamber. So he gets very angry. He was known for his short temper, Brigu. So he kicks the door of the Vaikunta with his leg. He kicks the door of the Vaikunta and he enters the private chamber of Vishnu and straight goes to his chest. He goes to near Vishnu, and with his leg, he kicks his chest. So Brigu with his leg kicks the chest of Vishnu. So what caused the anger? I believe the anger was caused by the eye. There was an eye underneath his feet. So don't use your rational brain. These are all stories. So he has had an eye underneath his feet, his right feet. So that caused a tremendous anger in his mind. So Vishnu caught hold of Brigu's leg. So Vishnu got the kick on his chest from Brigu, but then at that point in time he held Brigu's leg and then he plucked out the eye from Brigu's feet, the foot, the base of his feet. So then Brigu anger cooled down. So his anger came down, and Vishnu put some ointment and then bandaged his leg. So Brigu fell at the feet of Vishnu, and then he sought his pardon. He said, "Please forgive me. I'm very sorry for whatever I did." So Vishnu said, "Don't worry, I've forgiven you. What brings you here?" So Brigu explains to him that he is performing a sacrifice on the earth, and he would want to invite Vishnu to preside over that sacrifice. So Vishnu agrees to come and preside over the sacrifice, and Brigu goes away. Now Lakshmi is noticing all these things. So Lakshmi is noticing all these things. She's very angry with her husband because that is the place where she is supposed to reside. This is called Vakshasthala. If you look at the photo of Lord Balaji or Venkateshwara, you have two wives here, Padmavati and Lakshmi. And this is where she is supposed to reside, the heart of Vishnu. And that had been insulted by Brigu. And Lakshmi is very angry with her husband. And she says, instead of punishing Brigu, because he insulted the place where I reside, that is in your heart, you have let him go. So what type of a husband are you? Useless fellow. You're a useless husband. And she fights with Vishnu. She argues with him, and she, in a fit of rage, she comes down to earth. and she becomes a stone there. You can see here on your screen. This is Mahalakshmi. So she becomes a stone there at Kolhapur, right? And in search of Lakshmi, Vishnu also comes down to earth, I believe, and he's searching for Lakshmi. He's not able to find her, and then he becomes a stone at Tirumala in Andhra Pradesh, Tirupati, Tirumala, and that is why it is called Bhu Vaikunta. So there is this story around this temple. Even now, ghee, on ceremonial occasions, ghee is sent from the Tirumala Tirupati temple to light the lamps of the Mahalakshmi temple in Kolhapur, because you have the husband and wife. Lakshmi is the favorite wife of Vishnu. So this is the story. Now, anyway, we'll come back here. Amogha Varsha walks up to this temple at Kolhapur, the Mahalakshmi temple, and makes a vow. It is said that he takes a vow before the goddess. He says that if this drought, if this problem, which is facing his kingdom, goes away, then he would cut away the finger of his left hand. He would cut away the thumb of his left hand. So no sooner did he make this vow, I believe miraculously, in a very, very short time, the problem went away. Whatever problem was being faced by the Rashtrakuta kingdom went away. And true to the promise he had taken before the goddess, Amogha Varsha cut away the left thumb of his hand. He cut away the left thumb of his hand. So this is according to the Sanjan copperplate inscription, right? And then we have this traveler called Suleiman. So Akshata, I don't know the story behind Jyotiba here. I really don't know. So Arab traveler Suleiman visited the court of Amogha Varsha in 851, as you can see. And Suleiman tells us that he ranks Amogha Varsha as one among the four great emperors of the world. So he calls Amogha Varsha as one of the four great emperors of the world. The other three being the emperor of Constantinople, then we have the Caliph of Baghdad, and the emperor of China. So the other rulers were, of course, the Caliph of Baghdad at Baghdad, then the emperor of China, and the emperor of Constantinople. Amogha Varsha killed himself by drowning in the Tungabhadra. So he died by drowning in the Tungabhadra river, which is called Parama Yoga. So this way of dying is called Parama Yoga. So he died by drowning in the river Tungabhadra. So this is Amogha Varsha, Nrupatunga or Sarva. He patronized a number of scholars. You have both Sanskrit and Kannada literature flourishing under the Rashtrakuta kings, right? We have, for example, you see here Jinasena. So Jinasena, he was the chief advisor, the chief preceptor, religious guru, the religious guru of Amogha Varsha, Jinasena, who wrote Adi Purana, Parshvabhyudaya, and Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. So he writes this book called Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. Shakatayana, Amogha Vritti and Grammar. Mahaviracharya, who wrote Ganita Sara Sangraha on mathematics, and Harisena, who wrote Harivamsha. So these are some of the scholars and their works during the time of Amogha Varsha and Nrupatunga. Then we have, of course, other Rashtrakuta kings. Krishna II. Krishna II was defeated by the Chola king Parantaka in the Battle of Vallala. So in the Battle of Vallala, we have the Chola king Parantaka defeating Krishna II, right? But then later, Parantaka the first was defeated by Krishna III. So please remember these two battles: battles of Vallala and the Battle of Takkolam. In the Battle of Vallala, it was the Cholas who won. So Cholas won this battle when Parantaka defeated Krishna II. But in the Battle of Takkolam, the Cholas were defeated by the Rashtrakutas. So we have the Rashtrakuta king, Krishna III, who defeated Parantaka the first. And he built two temples at Rameshwaram, which is now in Tamil Nadu, Krishneshwara and Ganda Martandaditya. Ganda Martandaditya temples at Rameshwaram to commemorate his victory over the Cholas, Krishna III. And Krishna III also patronized a number of scholars, like Amogha Varsha patronized a number of scholars. We have Krishna III also patronizing a number of scholars, like, for example, Pampa. So Um, so he's called the Kavi Kula Guru of Kannada literature, Pampa, who wrote Adi Purana. He writes Adi Purana. Then Vikramarjuna Vijaya, Vikramarjuniya, and Pampa Bharata. So he writes these three books: Adi Purana, Vikramarjuniya, and Pampa Bharata. Ponna wrote Shanti Purana, and Chamundaraya writes Chamundaraya Purana. So we have Trimurtis, the triumvirate, as it is called in English, triumvirate. Triumvirate. See, UPSC has asked questions from these areas. So we'll look at the questions later at the end of this chapter. We'll look at the questions. So therefore, when you read broadly. As I told you, what type of questions can come from this section, early medieval India. Mostly factual questions, a founder of a dynasty, important kings, important wars they fought. Like, for example, we just now saw Battle of Vallala, Battle of Takkolam, right? Then scholars patronized by these kings, the books written by these scholars, foreign travelers who came visiting these kingdoms during the rule of a particular king. These are the type of questions which you can expect from early medieval India. So therefore, since it is factual, uh, you might get a little bored, but then I can't help it. That's how the syllabus is. That's how the syllabus is. That's why I'm trying to tell you stories and keep you interested. So we'll come back here. Um, so we have the triumvirate of Kannada literature. They're called the Trimurtis. Trimurtis of Kannada literature. They're called Pampa, Ponna, Ranna. Pampa, Ponna, and Ranna. As you can see on your screen, Pampa and Ponna, these two, Pampa and Ponna, were in the Rashtrakuta court, whereas Ranna was in the court of the Kalyana Chalukyas. So he comes a little later, Kalyana Chalukya kingdom. Ranna. So Pampa, Ponna, Ranna are considered to be the Trimurtis or triumvirate of Kannada literature. Ponna was his court poet. Ponna was the court poet of Krishna III. So the last Rashtrakuta king was Karka II, who was killed by his feudatory Tailapa. So Tailapa killed him and established the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom. So this was the end of the Rashtrakuta. So Rashtrakutas were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukya. So Chalukyas of Badami were succeeded by the Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakutas were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukyas. Right? Now we'll come back here. Other aspects of their rule. The Rashtrakuta kingdom was divided into provinces. As you can see on your screen, provinces were called Rashtra under a governor, under an officer called Rashtrapati, who maintained law and order and collected revenue from that particular area. So he also had an army. The provinces were subdivided into districts. So this is in a sequential order, in a hierarchical order. So provinces were subdivided into districts. Districts were called Vishaya under Vishayapati. He also performed the same type of functions at the district level, like that of the Rashtrapati. Then we have the Tehsil, something like a Taluk level, called Bukti or Nadu under Nada Gaunda or Bhogapati or Bojika. So he's called Nada Gaunda, Bhogapati or Bojika. And village was under a Grama. The village was called a Grama under a Gramapati or a Prabhu Gavanda. Right? So the officers of the provinces, districts, and tehsils were directly appointed by the central government. So directly appointed by the central government, the officers of the provinces, districts, and the buktis. Towns were headed by Nagarapati or Purapati. He was like a mayor of the city, Nagarapati or Purapati. Right? So we have agriculture, which was the main occupation of the Rashtrakutas. We have various taxes I have mentioned. This was a source of income for the king. Taxes on goods, taxes on houses, shops, taxes on occupations like operating ferries, etc. We have various types of coins issued by the Rashtrakutas: Dramma, Ponnu, Kanchana, Gadyana, Pangadyana, etc. So we have Golconda and Chiri districts. They were known for mines of precious stones, diamonds, and such things, right? And Kalasa, Indi, Manyaketa, they were educational centers. We have found a college. An inscription gives details of a college at Salatogi in Bijapur district. So we have the Rashtrakutas promoting education, study of subjects like Sanskrit, Vedas, etc. Then apart from Hinduism, so they were basically Jains, as I've told you. They promoted Jainism, but they were also tolerant towards other religions, including Hinduism, both Vaishnavism and Shaivism, including Islam, right? And we have important Buddhist centers which are found in Maharashtra as of now: Kanheri, Sholapur, and Dharwar in Karnataka. So then Pandharpur in Maharashtra became it became an important center of the Panduranga cult during the Rashtrakuta period. Pandharpur, this is a place in Maharashtra, Pandharpur, on the banks of the Chandrabhaga River, River Chandrabhaga, which is a tributary of the Bhima. So this is a tributary of the Bhima River. And here Krishna is called Vittal. You see, Krishna is called Vittala, and Rukmini is called Rukumai. So Vittal and Rukmini, or Rukumai, she is called locally Rukmini. So this is the Pandharpur. Pandharpur became an important center, and of course we have the Muslims being appointed as governors. Arabs were appointed as governors in various provinces, and they testify to the religious tolerance of the Rashtrakuta kings. Right? And Nagavi, this was in the news in the current affairs. Nagavi. So this Nagavi near Kalaburgi. So Kalaburgi is a place in Karnataka, district in Karnataka, earlier called Gulbarga, as you know, Karnataka, Kalaburgi. So we have a town called Nagavi in Kalaburgi. So there was an Agrahara there. That is a settlement of Brahmins. Agrahara is a settlement of Brahmins. And we have found a Ghatika Sthana there. Ghatika is a university or a center of learning, Ghatika Sthana there, which was equal to the Kanchi Ghatika Sthana. So it has been compared to the Kanchi Ghatika Sthana. It was a residential university college. 200 students used to live there, and various subjects were taught. Right? There was also a librarian called Bhandaraka. So it had a good library under a librarian called Bhandaraka. So this was in the current affairs news. That's why I put it here in the context of the Rashtrakutas. I put it. So go through it. Nagavi is also known as the Takshashila of the south. So this is about Rashtrakutas. You see, you have both Kannada and Sanskrit language promoted by them. This was the golden age of golden age of Kannada literature. So I made a chart for you. Remember the names of these scholars in Kannada language. So Sri Vijaya, so he was the court poet of Amogha Varsha, as you know, and he writes Kaviraja Marga, first available book in Kannada. And then Shiva Kotacharya, he writes Vadda Aradhane, oldest prose work in Kannada. Pampa, he's called Kavi Kula Guru of Kannada literature, Kavi Kula Guru. He writes Adi Purana. Vikramarjuna Vijaya, also called Pampa Bharata, and Pampa Purana. It's also called Pampa Purana. So Adi Purana and Vikramarjuna Vijaya. Ponna writes Shanti Purana, Bhuvanaika Ramabhyudayam, Jina Aksharamale. So these are all the various scholars, and Ponna was patronized by Krishna III, who gave him the title Ubhaya Kavi Chakravarti. He's called Ubhaya Kavi Chakravarti. So I have taken some information even from the Kannada books, right? So therefore, because English books might not contain the local history in a much more detailed manner, so I have added that into my PPTs. So make best use of it. Of course, you will get more information in books when you read the textbooks. So if you find some new information which is not there in my PPT, please add it to your notes. Right? Can I move on? Hello, all of you clear? Are you able to hear me? Akshata, we'll talk about the mains questions later. Yeah. Yeah, ancient. Generally, it is in the so mains questions mostly in the from the art and culture sections they're asked, or they're mixed with a certain section of ancient and medieval. So, for example, in one time they've asked about the town planning of the Harappans. We have discussed the town planning of the Harappans, right? So, or they've asked about Krishnadevaraya's how he was a great patron of literature, Krishnadevaraya, and his contribution towards the development of literature. So they can mix conventional history with art and culture section. So you cannot clearly draw a line, right? This knowledge of ancient and medieval will help you to understand art and culture better. And when I come to art and culture section, you'll be able to make that mental connection, right? For example, Gandhara School of Art, Mathura School of Art, Amravati School of Art. So I have given you an overview. We know that these three schools of art developed in the post-Maurya period, right? We have the Shatavahanas promoting the Amaravati School of Art. So you know who these Shatavahanas were, right? We have discussed that as part of ancient India, right? Like that. Similarly, you know who the Sungas and the Kushanas were. You know who the Indo-Greeks were. So then you'll be able to make that mental connection. So you cannot draw a clear-cut line. That's why you please approach this exam as one. It should be an integrated preparation. You cannot make a division that you'll separate first. You will only prepare for prelims, then mains. No, it should be an integrated preparation. So have a broad understanding of the subject, right? Yes, so we'll come back here. Then Sanskrit literature. These are all the various books written in Sanskrit. As you can see, yes, factual information. Durga Simha writes Katantra Vyakarana, Shaktayana or Shakatayana, Shabda Anushasana, Trivikrama. Trivikrama writes Nalachampu, Madalasa Champu. So Champu, first Champu style in Sanskrit. Champu is both in prose and verse, both in prose and verse. Then Amoga Varsha, Prashnottara Ratnamalike, Prashnottara Ratnamalike. Am I able to get across here? These words might sound a little difficult to pronounce. As I told you, split the words into two or three, and then you'll be able to pronounce clearly. Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah? Can I move on? Did you understand? So learn to split the words. It becomes easy to remember that way. Yeah? So salvation, yeah, Yasin, salvation is moksha. Moksha is salvation. Salvation is if we are born on this earth, we have to go through the ups and downs of life. Everybody, whether rich or poor, have to go through a lot of problems on this earth. So the ultimate aim of a human being is not to be born on this earth. That is called moksha or salvation, freedom from rebirth. Should we remember all these books? I told you, Sham, I've answered this question. You please, I have given the most important here in the PPTs, right? You make cue cards and try to revise them in case they ask you in the prelims, right? They can, or they might ask you in the mains also for that matter. Development of Karna literature in ancient times or in medieval times, they might ask you that way, right? As part of literature topic, you have to give some information. For example, they've asked in one of the mains exam, I told you about Krishnadevaraya, how he was a promoter of literature. And so personally, what did he do towards literature and how he promoted literature during his period. So you have to mention the name of some of the scholars and the books they wrote, and apart from the books written by Krishnadevaraya. So therefore, it becomes relevant. Okay, Sham. So I'll try to remember them. Anjali, revise. Please revise, and then you'll understand. One time you might not get it, but one or two times, and you'll slowly get it. So then of course Jinasenacharya writes Adi Purana. So this is Bharata and Bahubali stories in Purana style, and Parshvabhyudaya, that is Bharata and Bahubali fought. You know the story of Bahubali Gomateshwara, who fought against his elder brother Bharata, right, and became a monk, a Jain monk. So that is called Adi Purana. And Parshvabhyudaya, Asaga, Vardhamana Purana, Halayuda, Murda Sanjivini, Kavi Rahasya. So these are some of the books in Sanskrit language written during the Rashtrakuta period. So you see, Rashtrakutas were the last rulers to build rock-cut temples, as I told you in the beginning of this session. So their temples are mostly found at Ellora, Ajanta, Elephanta. So we have this cave in Elephanta. So you have the Elephanta caves of Bombay. You have this place called Gharapuri, locally called Gharapuri in Marathi language, or Elephanta. And there are six caves. There are six caves there at Elephanta. And in one cave, we have all these caves are dedicated to Lord Shiva. And in one of the caves, we have the Trimurti cave. This is the Trimurti cave to the right of your screen, 25 feet, a statue of Shiva. 25 feet statue of Shiva, three-faced Shiva is seen here. Shiva in various forms, that is creator, preserver, and as a destroyer. So this is about Rashtrakuta period. Then we come to Pratiharas. So we are looking at the triangular conflict for Kannauj. We looked at the Rashtrakutas. Then we come to the Pratiharas, then the Palas, then the Senas. Okay, so we'll come back here. Pratiharas. So there were three branches of Pratiharas, but the one which ruled from Avanti were considered to be the most important. So the Avanti branch was the most important because of their success against the Muslim invaders, right? The Arab Muslims. Now, Pratihara means doorkeeper. They were supposedly doorkeepers under the Rashtrakutas, Pratiharas. Now, we are also told that they're also called Gurjara Pratiharas. Probably they were descendants of the Gurjaras who came during the Gupta period. Just after the end of the Gupta rule, we have a number of tribes. We know this Hunas. Hunas were responsible, or Huns were responsible for the destruction of the Gupta Empire. So around this time, when the Hunas came, we have the Gurjaras also coming into India. And the Gurjara Pratiharas, according to some historians, are the descendants of these Gurjaras who settled in India in the 6th century BC. Pratihara means doorkeeper. Now look here. Who was the founder of the Rashtrakutas? Anybody? Who was the founder of the Rashtrakuta dynasty? Danti Durga, isn't it? Hello? Danti Durga? Yeah. Now look here. Danti Durga was the founder of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. And Danti Durga attacked Avanti, right? And he defeated the king there. His name was Deva Shakti. Deva Shakti. So, Devaraja or Deva Shakti. So, he defeated Devaraja or Deva Shakti. And Danti Durga, after defeating Deva Shakti or Devaraja, performed the Hiranya Garbha Yaga. That is Hiranya Garbha Yaga. He performed a sacrifice to celebrate his victory over the Avanti king. So, understand this. Hiranya Garbha Yaga was performed by Danti Durga. He was celebrating his victory over the king of Avanti. And you know what Danti Durga did? When the sacrifice was going on, the yaga or the Hiranyagarbha yaga or sacrifice was going on, he ordered Deva Shakti or Devaraja to stand as his doorkeeper. So to guard the door of the hall where the sacrifice was being performed. So he defeated the Pratihara king, that is, he defeated the king of Avanti, Devaraja or Deva Shakti, and made him the doorkeeper or Darban. This was an insult to that Avanti king. And this is the reason for this enmity between the Rashtrakutas and the Pratiharas, which lasted for 200 years. So Danti Durga of the Rashtrakutas versus Devaraja, who was the Pratihara king. So the word Pratihara comes from there, doorkeeper. So they were doorkeepers of the Rashtrakutas, right? So that's where the name Pratihara comes from. Now, who are the important kings? So the Rashtrakutas and the Pratiharas fought for 200 years, almost 200 years. This is an insult done by the Rashtrakuta king against the Avanti king. So here we have Nagabhatta, who resisted the capture of Gujarat by the Arabs of Sindh. You remember our Arab conquest of Sindh? We spoke about it. So Arabs understood that Sindh was a desert area. It was not having enough resources. So to solve that problem, they tried to expand beyond Sindh by conquering the neighboring areas. But they were not allowed to do by the Pratiharas. The Pratiharas were much more powerful than the Arabs, and the Pratihara king, Nagabhatta, defeated the Arabs and spoiled their plans of expanding beyond Sindh. Similarly, we have the Arabs trying to penetrate into South Gujarat. When they tried to penetrate into South Gujarat, they were defeated by the Chalukyas, a branch of the Chalukyas of Badami, which was ruling over South Gujarat. The greatest of the Pratiharas was, of course, Mihira Bhoja. We have an inscription which has been found in Rajasthan. This is the Daulatpura copper plate inscription. Talks about his military achievements. So he was the greatest. He was a Vishnu devotee. An Arab traveler, Sulaiman, visited his court. So Sulaiman, you remember, visited the court of Amogavarsha of the Rashtrakutas. Then Sulaiman comes to the court of even Mihira of the Pratiharas. Then we have Devaraja or Devashakti, who was insulted by Danti Durga of the Rashtrakutas. So Danti Durga defeated Devaraja or Devashakti and made him the doorkeeper when he performed a sacrifice called Hiranyagarbha Yaga. And this is the beginning of the hereditary struggle between the Rashtrakutas and the Pratiharas, which lasted for about 200 years. Then we have another king called Mahendrapala, who patronized the scholar Rajashekara, who wrote all these books. So Rajashekara wrote all these books. Karpura Manjari, the only existing work in Prakrit, the only existing drama in Prakrit language. Karpura Manjari, Kavya Mimamsa, Bala Ramayana, Bala Bharata, Vidhasala Bhanjika, Bhuvana Kosha. So these are the various books written by Rajashekara, who was patronized by Mahendrapala. Then we have Mahipala. So during the time of Mahipala Pratihara, we have another traveler, Arab traveler, historian by name Al-Masudi. So Al-Masudi visited the court of Mahipala Pratihara. He mentions about the Pratihara Rashtrakuta conflict. So he talks about the Pratihara Rashtrakuta conflict and calls the Gurjara Pratihara kingdom as Al-Juzur. So Al-Masudi in his language, Arabic language, calls the Gurjara Pratihara kingdom as Al-Juzur, and he calls the king as Banura or Baura, though um, Mihira Bhoja had died by then. That was the way the Arabs addressed Mihira Bhoj, Baura or Banura, and he mistook Mahipala for Mihira Bhoja. So Al-Masudi visited the court of Mahipala. Then we have Rajyapala. So when Mahmud of Ghazni attacked Kanauj, so Kanauj was the capital of the Pratiharas. You see here, Pratiharas, Avanti branch, they ruled from Kanauj. Kanauj was their capital. Kanauj in UP. Kanauj was their capital. Kanauj was also the capital of Harshavardhana, you remember. So here, when Mahmud of Ghazni attacked Kanauj, we have Rajyapala Pratihara running away without a fight. So he fled without a fight. And Banaras to South Bihar, we have seen this, was the bone of contention between the Palas and the Pratiharas, Banaras to South Bihar. So later, we have another dynasty ruling from Kanauj as its capital, the Rathors or the Gahadwalas. The Rathors also ruled from Kanauj. Right? This is about the Pratiharas. Then we come to the Palas. Are you there with me? Then we come to the Palas. So we discussed about the Rashtrakutas, then the Pratiharas, then we come to the Palas. So the Palas ruled Eastern India, that is present-day regions of Bihar and Bengal. And they patronized Vajrayana form of Buddhism. So they had their initial capital at Patliputra, later capital at Munghair. So both these areas, both these cities are in Bihar, Pataliputra and Munghair. So initial capital was Pataliputra, later capital Munghair. Both are in Bihar, and they patronize Vajrayana form of Buddhism. Vajrayana. So when I do Buddhism as part of art and culture, we will talk about it. So Vajra means diamond, and Yana means vehicle. So it is called the vehicle of the thunderbolt. Also, Vajra, diamond vehicle or vehicle of the thunderbolt. Vehicle of the thunderbolt. So this is the type of Buddhism patronized by the Palas of Bengal. So under Vajrayana, they believe in mantra. So they believe in all these things. The Vajrayana Buddhist mantra, tantra, invoking evil spirits. That is witchcraft, sorcery, that is black magic. All these things are believed in by the Vajrayana Buddhists, right? So this is the form of Buddhism patronized by the Palas, and the Palas built a number of universities. The Palas built a number of Buddhist universities, particularly catering to Vajrayana form of Buddhism. So we have the founder, Gopala. He was elected by the people. So let us look at the important rulers. Gopala, he was elected by the people to end Matsya Nyaya. What is Matsya Nyaya? The law of the fish. So in a river or an ocean, wherever there are fishes, what is Matsya Nyaya? The law of the fish. The big fish always swallows and eats up the small fish. big fish eats up the small fish. So that's called Matsyanaya. So that means there was a lot of chaos, law and order problem in the Pala kingdom, and therefore people elected Gopala as their ruler to end the law of the fish and to establish dharma, order and peace. So he was elected by the people, Gopala. He was the founder, and he founded the University of Udandapuri or Uddandapura. Then we have Dharmapala. Dharmapala, another Pala king, founded all these universities. Vikramashila. So he founded the Vikramashila University, then Udandapuri, Somapura, Jaggadala. Right? Then we have Devapala, greatest of the Pala kings, Devapala. He built the Mahabodhi temple at Gaya or Bodha Gaya. This is the Mahabodhi temple at Gaya on your screen, as you can see. This is where the Lord Buddha attained his nirvana or enlightenment. So he sat under the Bodhi tree or the sacred fig tree or the people tree, as it is called, and Lord Buddha attained nirvana. So Siddhartha became the Buddha here at this spot. So to mark that spot, we have the Pala king Devapala building this temple. It is called Mahabodhi temple. It is at Bodha Gaya. Right? Now we have the Nalanda copper plate inscription of Devapala. It tells us that the king of Sri Vijaya. So we have, in the present region of Indonesia, Java, Sumatra, etc. There was a kingdom. There was a dynasty called the Shailendra dynasty. So this is the Shailendra dynasty, which ruled present-day Indonesia, with capital at Java. So the capital of this kingdom was Java, Java, Sumatra, etc. So Java was the capital. So we have the king of Srivijaya by name Balaputra Deva. He sent an ambassador to Devapala asking for a grant of 5 villages to endow a monastery at Nalanda called Chudamani Vihara. And Devapala granted the request. So let me explain to you, please understand. You see, in Buddhism had spread rapidly, including into Southeast Asia. So a lot of Buddhist pilgrims from Southeast Asia, that is from the Shailendra kingdom, would visit India. And why would they want to visit India? Because India was the land of the Buddha, right? So they would like to visit the places connected with the Buddha, holy places connected with the Buddha, like the birthplace of Buddha, Lumbini, right? Then Kushinagara, where he died, the Sarnath, Bodh Gaya, etc. So here you have Buddhist pilgrims coming from Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, etc. So if his people, if king people from the Shailendra kingdom visit India, visit Nalanda, they'll require some place to stay. Okay, they'll require some boarding, lodging facilities. Now, those days there were no hotels. So he built a vihara. Who the king of Java, Balaputra Deva, built a vihara or a monastery at Nalanda. So for the boarding and lodging facilities for his people when they visit Nalanda. And he requested the king Devapala to grant 5 villages for the maintenance of that vihara. So whatever is grown, whatever is cultivated in those 5 villages, food, water, etc., will be supplied to that vihara, so that the travelers coming from Srivijaya, from the Shailendra king dynasty, will not have any problem. So that was the kingdom. The Srivijaya was the name of the kingdom, and the dynasty was Shailendra dynasty. Okay, so what was the name of the kingdom? Sri Vijaya. So Sri Vijaya kingdom, and the dynasty was the Shailendra dynasty, and the king was Balaputra Deva. Did you understand what I just now told you? Hello, all of you? Can you please raise your hand? Can I go further? Do you understand? So when travelers, pilgrims come from Java, from the Shailendra kingdom, they can stay in that vihara, and all the essentials, whatever they require, food, clothing, water, food, etc., will be supplied by those 5 villages. Yes, Zeba, Java, Sumatra, they're all in Indonesia, present-day Indonesia. Then Sulaiman visited his kingdom. Look at this Sulaiman. He visited the court of Amogavarsha, Rashtrakuta ruler. Then he went to Pratihara kingdom and visited the court of Mihira Bhoja. Then he comes to Pala kingdom and he visited the court of Devapala. So remember this in a box. You can put. So remember this. Easy to remember. You can put in a box Sulaiman. So number one, he visited Amogavarsha's court. Amogavarsha of the Rashtrakutas. Number two, Mihira Bhoja. Mihira Bhoja of the Pratiharas. And number three, Devapala of the Palas. So this way you can easily remember. Make a box and then you remember. Right? So we'll go back here, we'll go further. Then we have Mahipala. So Mahipala of the Pala ruler, of the Palas, when he was ruling, we have the attack of Rajendra Chola of the Cholas. So we have, look here on your screen. So this is Gujarat, India, let's say like this. So we have the Cholas ruling this area, Cholas. So what Rajendra Chola did is, Rajendra took his army and he marched via Orissa. He marched. Rajendra Cholan. Rajendra Chola. So he took his army from Tanjavur and all the way via Orissa, parts of Andhra and Orissa. He goes to North India. And the Palas were ruling here. Who was the king? This Mahipala. That time he was supposed to be the most powerful ruler of North India. Mahipala of the Palas. So we have Rajendra Chola defeating Mahipala. And then his horses, the Chola horses, quenched their thirst from the Ganges. And Rajendra took a title, Gangai Konda Cholan. Gangai Konda Cholan. That is, the Chola who conquered the Ganga Valley. Gangai Konda Cholan. The Chola who conquered the Ganga Valley. So here you have Ganga water brought. So via ships, you see, these are the ships. These are the ships. Imagine these are the ships. So from Bengal, you have the Bay of Bengal, isn't it? So via ships, Ganga water was brought to Tamil Nadu. And very near to Tanjavur, where his father had built a temple. Tanjavur was the capital of the Cholas. So his father Rajaraja had built the Brihadeshwara temple. So very near to Tanjavur, about 40 kilometers away from Tanjavur, he founded a new city. He called it Gangai Konda Cholapuram, the city of the Chola who conquered the Ganga Valley. Gangai Konda Cholapuram. And also he built another temple there at Gangai Konda Cholapuram. That is also called Brihadeshwara temple or the Rajeshwara temple. So this is about Rajendra Chola. How do we know this? The Tirumala inscription. The Tirumala inscription of Rajendra talks about it. When I come to Cholas later in the class, we will speak about it. Rajendra Chola's conquest of North India. Okay. Then of course we have the last king, Madanapala. He was killed by his noble Vijayasena, who established the Sena dynasty. So the Madanapala was the last king. So his court poet Sandhya Karanandi wrote Ramapala Charita, which talks about the revolt of the Kaivarta peasants. So factual information is there. Go through it, revise, keep revising. So Palas were succeeded by the Senas. So Madanapala, the last Pala king, was killed by Vijayasena, who followed the Sena dynasty. So we have the Palas succeeded by the Sena. So we have finished with Rashtrakutas, then Pratiharas, then Palas. Then we come to Senas. Now, the Senas ruled over Eastern India with Lucknowti as their capital, Lucknowti in Bengal, right? And we are told that they were of Kannada origin. The Senas were of Kannada origin. So how do we know this? That they were of Kannada origin? Probably they were of Kannada origin. We have a inscription, Prashasti, Diopara Prashasti. So this Diopara Prashasti tells us that the founder of the Sena dynasty, that is Samanta Sena, was a Brahma Kshatriya from Karnataka. So what is the meaning of Brahma Kshatriya? Brahma Kshatriya means a Brahmin who was doing the duty of a Kshatriya. A Brahmana, Brahma Kshatriya, a Brahmin who was doing the vocation of a Kshatriya, the job of a Kshatriya. So Samanta Sena, who is considered to be the founder, was a Brahma Kshatriya from Karnataka, and he was the one who established the Sena dynasty according to this Diopara Prashasti. However, we have another historian called P.N. Chopra. He says they were of Vaishya origin, Vaidyas or Vaishyas. So let us look at the important king. Samanta Sena was the founder, Samanta Sena. Then Vijaya Sena, he built this temple. Pradyumneshwara temple at Rajshahi, patronized Sri Harsha, who wrote Vijaya Prashasti. Then we have Ballala Sena, who wrote two Sanskrit books. One is Dana Sagara on omens and portent. What is omen? Omen is something which where you have a feeling that some bad is going to happen. So bad omen. Omen is generally related to something which is going to happen bad in the future, in the near future. So that is called omen. So he wrote a book called Dana Sagara on omens and portents, right? And then Adbhuta Sagara on astronomy. And Ballala Sena introduced what is known as Kulinism in Bengal. What is Kulinism? You see, I believe Kulinism is nothing but hypergamy. What is hypergamy? That is marrying a bride of a lower caste. So in Bengal, there were 36 groups of Brahmins, 36 groups or males, 36 males or groups of Brahmins, and they could not marry amongst themselves. Brahmins could not marry amongst themselves, though and amongst themselves. So there were 36 group of Brahmins. They were not allowed to marry amongst themselves. So these Brahmins could marry girls from certain families of lower castes. So certain families amongst the lower caste, girls coming from those families could be married by these Brahmins. So that is the form of nobility which was established by Ballala Sena. That is called Kulinism, a system of nobility amongst the Brahmins in Bengal. So Brahmin marrying a lower caste girl coming from a certain family, from certain families. That is called Kulinism, right? And he founded Gaur or Lucknoti. So that was his capital. That was the capital of the Senas, Gaur or Lucknoti. And later we have Nadia. Nadia was his second capital, right? So then the last king was Lakshmana Sena. The last king was Lakshmana Sena. So Brahma Kshatriya, Zebas, Brahma Kshatriya is a Brahmana. Who's a Brahmana? Brahmana, what is the duty of a Brahmana? Either he's a teacher or a priest. So according to tradition, a Brahmin does the job of a priest or he's a teacher. He becomes a teacher. Kshatriya is a warrior. Now here the Brahmana, instead of being a teacher or a priest, he is doing the job of a warrior. He's called Brahma Kshatriya. Did you understand, Zeba? So the Opara Prashasti tells us that the Sena dynasty was founded by Samanta Sena, who was a Brahma Kshatriya from Karnataka. Yeah, that is as part of history of Andhra, Sham. UPSC, we are just touching the Chalukyas of Vengi or the Eastern Chalukyas of Vengi. So if you're preparing separately for Andhra Pradesh State Service or Telangana State Service, then you'll be probably reading Chalukyas of Vengi or in a much more detailed manner, right? UPSC we are not doing the Chalukyas of Vengi topic, not highlighted in any of the questions. So therefore, we'll be skipping that. Okay. Shyam, did you understand? So if you're preparing for Andhra or Telangana State Service, then you'll be obviously reading Chalukyas of Vengi in a much more detailed manner. Right. Probably Musarraf. I'm not very sure about that question whether Nadian in West Bengal is the same as Nadia. Probably it might be. Right. So Akshata, apart from, see, I'm preparing for Maharashtra State Service. What should I read? Yeah, obviously, you read the UPSC syllabus and then look at the previous year question paper of Maharashtra State Service. That applies to other state services also, whichever state you belong to. So you'll get an idea of the type of questions asked, the level of difficulty. It is like horses for courses. Understand the students? Horses for courses. What is the meaning of horses for courses? You see, UPSC is called the mother of all exams. That is true. But then, when you're preparing for, it will help you have common subjects in all these exams: history, economy, polity, geography, current affairs. These are all common in all the other state exams also, and other exams. Group B exams, including Group B, Group C exams. So UPSC level of difficulty is different. The level of type of questions asked in UPSC is different. The level of difficulty of questions asked in state service is different. So the best reference point for you is the previous year question papers. So have peruse the previous year question papers, last 8, 10 years of state services or whatever exam you're preparing. Then you'll come to know the level of difficulty of questions asked. Because what you prepare for UPSC, what you feel is important for UPSC might not be important for the state services, right? Or for some other exam, like for example, sub inspector exam. You're preparing for sub inspector exam, or the Central Police Service Organization exam, like the ITBP, the CRPF, etc. There, the type of questions asked from history will be different from UPSC level. So you have to look at the previous year question papers, and accordingly you prepare if you're preparing for those exams, right? UPSC is different. UPSC will give you, it's a different level of exam. There are other exams below them, below UPSC. Level of difficulty is different. That's why I said horses for courses. Like 2020 batsman, he is a specialist in 2020 cricket. He will not play a test match. Very difficult for a 2020 player. There are very few all-round players. Like Tendulkar could play any format, a test match, 50-over match, 2020 match. He can play anything. But everybody is not like Tendulkar, right? Somebody is only he can play only 2020, not test cricket. Like that, depending upon what exam you're preparing, the reference point is the syllabus and the question bank, previous year question papers. So you can come to know the level of difficulty of questions asked. So that is your reference point. Okay, so I'll not repeat again. We'll come back here. Lakshmana Sena, he was the last king of the Senas, and he patronized all these scholars. You can see here on your screen. Jayadeva, who wrote Gita Govinda, Dhoi Pavanaduta, Halayuda, Brahmana Sarvaswa, Kavi Rahasya, Sridharadasa, Sadukti Karnamrita. So these are the various scholars patronized by Lakshmana Sena, and we are told in a book called Tabaqati Nasiri, written by Minhajus Siraj. So we have a book called Tabaqati Nasiri. Tabaqati Nasiri, written by Minhajus Siraj. So Minhajus Siraj writes this book called Tabaqati Nasiri. So here in this book we come to know that Bakhtiyar Khalji, remember who is Bakhtiyar Khalji? Ghori, Muhammad Ghori sent two officers to expand his empire in India. One was Qutbuddin Aibak, the other was Bakhtiyar Khalji. So Bakhtiyar Khalji conquered eastern India. So Bakhtiyar Khalji, when Lakshmana Sena was the Sena king, we have Bakhtiyar Khalji attacking Lucknowti with just 18 horsemen. Look here, with just 18 horsemen, you have Bakhtiyar Khalji attacking Lucknowti. So what is the meaning of this? So you have the spies of Lakshmana Sena who had told him that an attack is being planned by Bakhtiyar Khalji. So Bakhtiyar Khalji was conquering the neighboring areas, engaging in loot, plunder and all that, destroying Buddhist universities. So here you have Lakshmana Sena was anticipating an attack. And then, from Lucknowti, you have the Kiledar, that is the person who guards the fort. So he saw dust. He saw dust from a far off distance. So he was keeping guard on the fort. He saw dust, that is approaching horses. He saw, and when you have horses running, you have dust being thrown into the air. So he thought it was an army approaching. Of course, it was an army. So he went and told Lakshmana Sena. Lakshmana Sena was warned that an army is approaching, probably of Bakhtiyar Khalji. And Lakshmana Sena ran away from Lucknowti. And it looks like Bakhtiyar Khalji was in a hurry. So from his camp, he charged with just 18 horsemen. 18 horsemen accompanied him, and the main army was coming slowly behind him. So without a fight, Lucknowti was conquered by Bakhtiyar Khalji. This story is there in Tabaqat Nasiri, written by Minhaj Siraj. So we have Bakhtiyar Khalji conquering Bengal. The Sena rule came to an end, and we have Bakhtiyar Khalji destroying all the Buddhist universities: Nalanda, Vikramashila, Udandapura, Jaggadala, Somapura, Paharpur. All those universities were plundered, looted by Bakhtiyar Khalji, and practically Buddhism disappeared from the land of its birth. So this was the end of the Sena dynasty. Are you there with me? This was the end of the Sena dynasty. So we have this book called Tabaqati Nasiri, written by Minhaj Siraj, which gives us all these details. So Raja Lakshmaniya is supposedly none other than Lakshmana Sena. So this is about the Pala, the Rashtrakutas, the Pratiharas, the Palas, and the Senas. So let us look at the questions from this particular aspect, these particular topics we have covered. Consider the following statements. Answer this question, all of you. Consider the following statements. Rashtrakutas, Paramaras, and Palas continuously fought for more than 1 century. Yes or no? Yes or no? You have to answer, Dikshit. You should answer why. Answer my question. Rashtrakutas, Paramaras, Palas continuously fought for more than 1 century. Harika says no. Zeba says no. Why no? Stephen says yes. Shambhavi says yes. RB Jagani says yes. So some are saying no, some are saying yes. Why is it no? Why is it no? Yeah, Sham says Pratyaras. Very good. Sham, you hit the bullseye. Look here on your screen. Rashtrakutas, Paramaras, and Palas. No, we know Paramaras never were involved in the triangular conflict for Kannauj. Rashtrakutas, Pratiharas, not Paramaras. So the answer should have been Pratiharas. Okay, so when the first statement is wrong, the other statements obviously are a continuation of the first statement. So this is wrong. This fight is popularly known as tripartite struggle. This is also wrong. This would have been correct if it was Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas Pratiharas, right? So capture of Kannauj was the main objective of the struggle. Again wrong. Rashtrakutas were victorious in the struggle. Again wrong. So here the answer is none. Which of the statements are correct? None is correct because please understand 2, 3, 4 are a continuation of the first statement. 2, 3, 4 are a continuation of the first statement. Therefore, when the first statement is wrong, by default, all the other statements are also wrong. Therefore, the answer is none. This is a tricky question. That's why I put it here. This was from one of the state services. This was from one of the state service, and I put it here. Did you understand? Hello? If the first statement was correct, then the other statements would also have been correct. The other statements also would have been correct. Okay. Then grant of land to the Buddhist monastery, Shailendra Chudamani Vihara, was made by Pala King Devapala. So you remember this, Shailendra King, Balaputra Deva sent an ambassador asking for the grant of 5 villages to endow a monastery at Nalanda. So he wanted 5 villages to be donated to that Vihara he had built at Nalanda called Chudamani Vihara, and Pala King Devapala granted the request. So that is the answer. Next, the Gurjara king and others are said to have worked as doorkeepers in the Hiranyagarbha sacrifice performed by Danti Durga. So Danti Durga is the person who insulted Devaraja. So Devaraja or Deva Shakti, the Pratihara king, was insulted by Danti Durga, right? And he made him his doorkeeper. Who was the Pala ruler who was elected to the throne according to the Rajatarangini? So elected was Gopala. Gopala was elected. He was the founder of the Pala dynasty, and he was elected to end what is called law of the fish, Matsya Nyaya. Who among the Rashtrakuta rulers assumed the title Kanchiyum Tanjayum Konda, the conqueror of Kanchi and Tanjore? So it was Krishna the Third. Krishna the Third conquered Kanchi and Tanjavur and took the title Kanchiyum Tanjayum Konda. Who among the following was a poet laureate during the reign of Rashtrakuta king Krishna the Third? This was the UPSC question. The answer is Ponna. Ponna, not Puna, it's Ponna. Ponna, Ponna. Who among the following Arab travelers described Amoghavarsha as one of the 4 greatest kings of the world? You know this, Sulaiman. So who were the other 3? The Emperor of Baghdad, China, and Constantinople. The Caliph of Baghdad, the Emperor of China, and the Emperor of Constantinople. Then which of the following is the correct chronological sequence of the visit of Arab travelers to India? So you have Sulaiman. I have given the answer here. You can see here, this is the answer for you. So Sulaiman came in the 9th century. Okay, then we come to Al-Masudi. Al-Masudi came in the 10th century. Sulaiman 9th century, Al-Masudi 10th century, Al-Biruni 11th century. He came along with Mahmud Ghazni, Al-Biruni, and Ibn Battuta. He was from Morocco in Africa. He came in the 14th century during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So that is the sequential order in which these Arab travelers came to India. Sulaiman al-Masudi, al-Biruni, and Ibn Battuta. Right? Common era. Sunil, CE means common era. Common era. Instead of AD, we use the word CE, common era. Instead of BC, we use the word BCE. BC is before Christ. BC is before common era. So this has more of a Christian connotation. AD, BC have more of a Christian connotation, before Christ, and Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord, in the year in which Lord Jesus Christ was born. So since they have a Christian connotation, this is more secular in nature, not related to any religion. So common era, before common era. That's why nowadays it also uses CE, BC. Doesn't matter if you use BC, AD, that is also correct. Right? Then match the following with regard to the mutts founded by Adi Shankara. Jyotir Mutt. Where is Jyotir Mutt? It is in North India, Badrinath. Sharda Mutt, Sringeri in Karnataka. Kalika Mutt. Where is Kalika Mutt? Kalika Mutt is in Dwarka, Gujarat. And Govardhan Mutt is in Puri, Orissa. Right? So the answer is A. Then match the following by using the codes given below. Jain scholar and the work. Jinasena, Adi Purana. So this is just an idea as to what type of questions can come. Okay, so accordingly you prepare. Jinasena, Adi Purana. Amoga Varsha wrote Ratnamalika. Okay, then Shakatayana, Amoga Vritti. Mahaviracharya, Ganita Sara Sangraha. So the answer is A is the answer. Consider the following statements. 2006 question. The Ikshvaku rulers of southern India were antagonistic towards Buddhism. So this is not correct. You see, we have the Shatavahanas, were succeeded by the Ikshvakus in the region of Andhra Pradesh. So once the Shatavahana empire declined, we have the Ikshvakus succeeding the Shatavahanas or Andhra. Chutus succeeded the Shatavahanas over the region of Karnataka, right? So with Banavasi as capital. So these Ikshvaku rulers patronized Buddhism because at Ajanta, please understand, at Ajanta in Maharashtra, we have 29 caves. Some books say 30 caves at Ajanta. Some of these caves are from 2nd century BC till the 7th century AD. So a period of 900 years. These caves were constructed from the 2nd century BC, from the time of the Shatavahana rule, till the 7th century AD. And some of the caves at Ajanta belong to the Ikshvaku dynasty. So it was made during the period of the Ikshvaku rulers who ruled that region during those days. So they were not antagonistic towards Buddhism. They were in fact promoters of Buddhism. So therefore the first statement is wrong. The Pala rulers of East India were patrons of Buddhism. We know this. They patronized Vajrayana form of Buddhism. So therefore, which of the following statements given above are correct? They're asking. Only the first statement is correct. Sorry, only the second is correct. The first is wrong. Did you understand? Hello? This question, whatever I've discussed, 11th question. Did you understand? All of you? Can I move on? Okay. Rajesh, no. Rajesh, in Ajanta, there are 29 caves, but some books say 30 caves. And these caves belong to the period 2nd century BC to 7th century AD. So they were dug up over a period of 900 years by many dynasties, Shatavahanas, Ikshvakus, then we have the Guptas, right? Then even the later Guptas, etc. So some of the caves belong to the Ikshvaku period. So Ajanta, the theme is entirely Buddhism. It is focused on Buddhism, Bodhisattvas, important events connected with the life of the Buddha. So these caves were dug up by Buddhist monks, right? And on the walls and ceilings of some of these caves, we have beautiful paintings. So it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So Ajanta is totally Buddhism. And Ikshvaku rulers also were responsible for the digging up a few caves, at Ajanta. So they were not antagonistic towards Buddhism, right? The who among the following laid the foundations of the Rashtrakuta Empire? Look at this question, 2006 question UPSC. Who was the one who founded the Rashtrakuta Empire? You know the answer. Danti Durga. Very good. Stephen, Karthik, Danti Durga was the founder of the Rashtrakuta Empire. So this is the end of this particular module. Whatever I had done, then we'll come to the other topics. That is these early medieval India. I have divided for my convenience. I have divided this way. We have the Rajput kingdoms, early Muslim invasions on India, Ghazni and Gori, the Chalukyas of Kalyana, the Cholas of Tanjavur or Tanjore, the Pandyas of Madurai, etc. We will look at all these dynasties one by one. So first of all, we'll talk about the Rajput kingdoms. So you see here during this period, 750 to 1200 AD, this is how we have the political disintegration of India. We have the rule of the in North India, domination of 36 Rajput clans. So once the three dynasties, the Palas, Pratyaras, Rashtrakutas, they kept fighting against each other. So along with that, we have domination of 36 Rajput clans in North India between this period, this broad period from 750 to 1200 AD. Eastern India, you have the Palas and the Senas ruling over Bihar and Bengal, rule of Pala and Sena dynasties. So we have looked at Pala and Sena dynasties. Then Deccan, rule of the Rashtrakutas and the Kalyani Chalukyas. So we have looked at Rashtrakutas and Kalyani Chalukyas, right? So we'll come to Kalyani Chalukyas in some time. So we looked at the Rashtrakutas. And South India, we have the Cholas, Imperial Cholas. So this is how, this is what was happening between 750 to 1200 AD. So let us talk about the Rajputs. Now, who are these Rajputs? Anybody? Who are these Rajputs? There are a number of theories. There are a number of theories as to who these Rajputs might have been or could have been. So let us talk about it. The Rajputs. Now, we have a British historian called Colonel Todd. Now, Colonel Todd writes a book. What is the name of the book? Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan. Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan. So what Colonel Todd says is that they were of mixed races. The Rajputs were of mixed race, he says. They were of mixed race or races. So let us try to understand this part. What does he mean? What does he mean by that? You see, in the post-Maurya period, so after the Mauryan Empire declined, we saw that we have done that chapter when we did ancient India. A number of foreign tribes came into India. Who are they? Who were the first to come? Bactrian Greeks. Bactrian Greeks came, followed by the Scythians. The Scythians came, also known as the Shakas. Then we have the Parthians who came. Then we have the Kushanas who came. So Bactrian Greeks, Scythians, Parthians, Kushanas. Then during the Gupta period, we have the Hunas or the Huns who came. Huns came, right? So Stephen, just hold on. We'll talk about it. So all these foreigners came in the post-Maurya period, right? In the post-Maurya period, all these foreigners came to India and established kingdoms. Now, many of these foreigners married Indian women. They married Indian women or they had relationship with Indian women. And the progeny, the children born to such mixed races, according to Colonel Todd, are the Rajputs. So he says the progeny born to these mixed races. So father is a foreigner, the mother is an Indian, right? Mostly that was the case. Very rarely the mother was a foreigner and the father was the mother was the very rarely was the um, father the mother was was a foreigner and the man was an Indian. So very rare that was. Mostly this was the case. Okay. So this is what Colonel Todd says. So these foreigners came to India, they married Indian women, and the progeny born to these mixed races are the Rajputs, according to Colonel Todd. So this is according to historians. Huh? Don't take it personally. If there's any Rajput sitting here in the class, don't take it personally. This is what the historians tell us. So because these are all theories, right? Then we have second theory given by Chand Bardai. Chand Bardai. So so there was a poet called Chand Bardai or Bardoi. So this Chand Bardai was the poet in the court of Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj the third, also called Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj the third or Prithviraj Chauhan. And Chand Bardai writes a few books. Prithviraja Raso, Prithviraja Charitra, love story of Prithviraj and the Gahadwala princess Samyukta. We'll come to that, don't worry. So Chand Bardai tells us in his books Prithviraja Charitra, Prithviraja Raso and Prithviraja Charitra. These are the two books written by him. So what does he say? He says, he gives us a wonderful story. And this is the Agnikula theory. He gives the Agnikula theory about the origin of the Rajputs. Agnikula theory. What is this Agnikula theory? I'll have to tell you a story. I'll tell you a story now. Listen up. This is a story related to the Rajputs. What is known as the Agnikula theory? Vice versa was rare. So Agnikula theory. What is this wonderful story? Now listen to the story given by Chand Bardai. So regarding the origin of the Rajputs, who are these Agnikula Rajputs according to Chand Bardai? So there was this sage called Parashuram, the sixth avatar of Vishnu. So 10 avatars of Vishnu are there: Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Vamana, Parashuram, sixth avatar. Parashurama, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Kalki. So there was this person called Parashuram, supposedly the sixth avatar of Vishnu, as you all know. And Parashurama had a father. What was his father's name? Sage Jamadagni. Sage Jamadagni. And the sage Jamadagni had a cow, a magical cow called Kamadenu. Kamadenu. So this was a magical cow. That is, whatever you ask the cow, it'll give you. For example, I want to go to America. Immediately you're in America. I want a Mercedes Benz car in front of my house, right? Immediately, a Mercedes car will appear in front of your gate, in front of your house. So this was a magical cow which was owned by sage Jamadagni, the father of Parashurama. Now, story goes that there was a king in that area. His name was sage King Kartavirya. King Kartavirya. And King Kartavirya wanted to steal that cow. Why? Because if he steals that cow, he can fulfill all his ambition. So King Kartavirya sent an army. He came along with that army, with his soldiers. And Parashurama was not there. Son Parashurama was not there. He had gone somewhere. And King Kartavirya tried to steal that cow from sage Jamadagni, father of Parashuram. Sage Jamadagni objected. He tried to stop the king and his soldiers from stealing the cow. In the process, sage Jamadagni was killed. So sage Jamadagni was killed by King Kartavirya. The cow Kamadena was stolen, and Kartavirya ran away with the cow. Now Parashurama came back. He had gone somewhere, I told you. So after some time he came back, and what does he see? He sees that the cow is missing. His father has been slaughtered. He has been killed. And he came to know that the person behind this was the Kshatriya king Kartavirya. Kartavirya, the Kshatriya king, was responsible for the death of his father and the loss of that cow. So Parashurama took his battle axe. He was mad with rage. He took his battle axe and he decided to wipe out all the Kshatriyas on this earth, I believe. So he began to chop off their heads. All the Kshatriyas began to lose their heads. So Parshurama was killing all the Kshatriyas. Now, who are the people who give protection to the Brahmanas? It was the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are the ones who give protection to the Brahmanas. So Brahmanas got very scared because if Parshuram kills all the Kshatriyas on this earth, who is going to give them protection? So some Brahmanas ran to Mount Abu. Now look here on your screen. So this is Mount Abu. So this is Mount Abu in Rajasthan. So they ran to Mount Abu, and top of the Mount Abu, they kindled a fire. They kindled a fire. They performed a yagna. They began to perform a yaga. Okay, and they began to pray to gods. These Brahmana sages. Okay, and they prayed to gods for what? They requested the gods, please send us some warriors who will give us protection. And the gods were appeased by the sages through this yaga, and the gods blessed the sages. And from the fire arose four heroes who became the founders of four Rajput dynasties. Who are these heroes? Look here on your screen. So who are these heroes? The Pratiharas, the Paramaras, the Chauhans, the Pratiharas, Paramaras, Chauhans, and the Solankis. These are considered to be Agnikula Rajputs. These are called Agnikula Rajputs. They arose from Agnikula Rajputs. UPSC asked this question, who are the Agnikula Rajputs? These are the Agnikula Rajputs, Pratiharas, Paramaras, Chauhans, and Solankis. Did you understand? This story is given by Chand Bardai. I hope you understand the story. All of you. So remember the story, then you'll remember those four heroes who arose from the sacred fire which the Brahmanas had kindled at Mount Abu. Right? Remember the story. Yasin, is it true to believe? Yasin, don't ask me such difficult questions. You only use your common sense. Use your common sense. How can people be born from the fire? But then it is nice to feel that way now. Agnikula Rajputs, we are all born from fire. Yeah. See, use your use your discretion. Use your discretion. We are all in the scientific age, right? But then these are all wonderful stories and theories, right? There is a lineage. There is a particular background built by the historians and the people who wrote history during those days. Who wrote the family background. And it feels nice to call yourself Surya Vanshi, Chandra Vanshi. That is, some Rajputs claimed Kshatriya status. They said that they are pure Kshatriyas. They are descended from Surya and Chandra. Surya Vanshi, Chandra Vanshi, right? Some say that they were Brahmanas by origin. Like, for example, the Guhilots, the Sisodias of Mewar, they all claimed that they were belonged to Brahmin, they were Brahmanas. So there are various theories. One is given by Colonel Todd, I told you that. Second is the Agnikula theory given by Chand Bardai, right? And then we have some historians who say that these Rajputs were of Kshatriya race. They belong to the Kshatriya Varna. And some Rajputs say that they belong to Brahmanas. They originated, they are from the Brahmana Varna as such. So this is the various theories. These are the various theories regarding the origin of the Rajputs. So we'll talk about it. You can see on your screen, right? The Colonel James Todd, in his book Annals and Antiquities of Rajasthan, he says that Rajputs were of mixed races. Many foreigners came to India. These foreigners, like the Kushana, Shakas, Huns, etc., married Indian women, and the progeny born to such mixed races are the Rajputs, according to Colonel Todd. Agnikula theory was given by Chand Bardai, who writes Prithviraj Raso, Prithviraj Charitra, and who are the four Agnikula Kshatriyas or Agnikula Rajputs: Pratyaras, Paramaras, Chauhans, Solankis. Right? Then we have Vincent Smith. Vincent Smith, a British historian, he says, somewhere of mixed races and somewhere of local origin. He says, Vincent Smith says, somewhere of mixed breed, that is, foreigners marrying Indian women and the children born to such mixed races, are the Rajputs. and some were from the local area of Gujarat and Rajasthan. They were local tribes living in Gujarat and Rajasthan, and that's what V.S. Smith says. Vincent S. Smith says. For example, we have the Chandelas of Bundelkhand. So Chandelas were belong to the Gond tribe. So they belong to the Gond tribe, and Gondis or Gond are from Bundelkhand. Rani Durgavati belonged to the Gond tribe. So this is mixed races, right? And then we have some historians like R.C. Majumdar. He says that many of the Rajputs claimed either Kshatriya or Brahmana origin. For example, we have the Chauhans, Guhilats, Pratyaras, Paramaras. They claimed themselves to be Brahmanas. They said they were Brahmanas, the Chauhans, Guhilots, Pratiharas, and the Paramaras. Whereas some Rajputs said they were of Kshatriya origin, like Suryavanshi, Chandravanshi. For example, the rulers of Mewar, Jaipur, and Bikaner claimed themselves to be of Suryavanshi origin. They were descendants of Sri Rama, they said. Mewar, Jaipur, Bikaner. So these are the various theories. Just know the different theories. That's all. From what are we doing? We are preparing for an exam. You're preparing for an exam, so you have a broad idea about who these Rajputs are. Various historians have done research and they have given their opinions. You just know those opinions, right? What is your personal opinion? You keep it to yourself. Are you there with me? You keep it to yourself and don't make it public. If it might become controversial. So you whatever you think, you keep it in your mind. But know what the UPSC expects of you, right? No, see, these are all the theories. Please know the theories, because these are theories given by historians, right? Just know that. That is enough for you. For you. Uh, what is your personal opinion? You keep it to yourself. And if in the interview, if they ask you who are the Rajputs, you give all those four theories. You don't use your theory, right? That becomes controversial. UPSC will not ask you controversial things. Now we'll come back here. Now you see, you have what are the reasons for the rise of the Rajputs? What are the reasons for the rise of the Rajputs? So first of all, we have lineage-based polity. So they claimed a lineage, a particular descent. Suryavanshi, Chandravanshi, Agnikula Rajputs, etc. So lineage-based polity, right? Next is expansion of agrarian economy. So the main source of income for these Rajputs was agriculture. So agriculture was their main occupation, and you have distribution of land amongst the clan members. So various clans, you have many Rajput dynasties, and you have many clans amongst them. So land was distributed by the kings to various officers or various clan leaders under them, and you have intermarriages amongst the Rajputs, interclan marriages. So interclan marriages took place. So that's how the Rajputs came into existence. So we have two parts which we study their history according to B.D. Chattopadhyay. One is essentially a political process where they sought legitimization through lineages. They try to um, claim the family history that they belong to this background. He was the founder, Suryavanshi, Chandravamshi. We are descendants of Rama, etc. So they try to claim a particular lineage for their family as such. That is number one. And number two is they proliferated. They married amongst themselves and they proliferated, and they became a force to reckon with also in the society. So this is in brief about the rise of the Rajputs. This is according to what historians tell us. Now, who are the various Rajput dynasties? There were 36 Rajput dynasties. Please understand, 36 Rajput dynasties were there, but all are not important. These are the important Rajput dynasties: Paramaras of Malwa, the Solankis or Chalukyas of Gujarat, the Chandelas of Bundelkhand, the Chauhans or Chahamanas of Sakambari, the Rathors of Kanauj or the Gahadwalas, the Sisodias or the Guhilas of Mewar, the bravest amongst the Rajputs are these, the Sisodias of Mewar. We have people like Rana Ratan Singh, who fought against Alauddin Khalji, and his queen performed Johar, that is Rani Padmavati. Rana Kumbha, who fought against the combined armies of Gujarat and Malwa and defeated them. Rana Pratap, who fought against Akbar, who defied Akbar. Rana Uday Singh, the father of Rana Pratap, who also fought against Akbar. So the Sisodias of Mewar were supposedly the bravest among the Rajputs. The Kalachuris of Chedi or the Kalachuris of Dahala Mandala, the Tomaras or Tomars. So these are the important Rajput dynasties, who ruled between the period 800 to 1200 AD. Are you there with me? Are you clear about the Rajputs? Who these Rajputs were? Various theories. Um, Sham, yeah, you have myths, stories. So it's a concoction, Sham. It's many facts have been distorted down history, and such things are there in all religions. In Hinduism, in Buddhism, in Jainism, in Christianity, in Islam, there are a lot of facts, there are a lot of myths, there are a lot of stories, there are a lot of miracles, right? It all depends upon that person's belief. Okay, so there's a saying in Kannada. I'll not use the Kannada words here. Um, so here, you should not try to question the source of the river or the source of a saint, right? You should not try to question the source of a river, where the river originates, and you should not try to question the source of a belief system, right? So that is what it is. So I'll stop here. I would not like to say more than that. So you know all these things. Know all these things because we are studying about history and culture. It's not about just history. As potential bureaucrats, you are supposed to know the history and culture, the traditions, the background of your country, of your district, of your state. And if you're posted to a particular area like Northeast or some other state, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, etc., you should know the history and culture of that particular area, and you'll be a better officer that way. You'll be because you know the culture and tradition of that particular area, right? So we'll come back here. Prominent Rajput dynasties. So same type of questions: who was the founder? Important Rajput dynasties, founders, important kings, temples they built, scholars they patronized, wars they fought, right? Foreign travelers, if at all they visited their kingdom. These are the type of questions asked. So we'll talk about it. Paravaras of Malwa. So Malwa is ancient Avanti, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh area. So they ruled Madhya Pradesh area with capital at Dhara. So Malwa is your ancient Avanti. So who are the important kings? Upendra, Vakpati II, Munja, Raja Bhoja, Udayaditya, Malakdeo. So the founder was Upendra or Krishna. Then Vakpati II, Munja, patronized the scholars. Padmagupta, who wrote Navasahasanka Charita, and Dhananjaya, who wrote Dasharupaka. So founder was Upendra or Krishna. He was the founder of the Paramaras of Malwa. And then we have Raja Bhoja, who was the greatest of the Paramaras of Malwa. And according to tradition, Kalidasa was in his court. So we have seen this. History doesn't support this. In whose period was Kalidasa? Can you answer that question? Kalidasa was in the court of which king? Yeah. Kalidasa was in the Sham, Maurya's. My God. Sham, you're not. Kalidasa was in the Mauryan court. Chandragupta II, very good. Gupta period, Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya. Zeba says Samudragupta. Again, Zeba is wrong, Sham is wrong. Chandragupta II, very good. So we know Kalidasa was in the court of the Gupta king, Chandragupta II, Vikramaditya, in the Ujjain court. He was one among the Navaratnas. That is according to history. But according to folklore, according to tradition, Kalidas was in the court of the Paramara king, Raja Bhoja, according to folklore, popular tradition. Okay. Then we have Raja Bhoja, who himself was a great scholar. He wrote books on all these subjects. Look at on your screen. Poetics, Ramayana Chambu. So on poetics, writes these books, Ramayana Chambu, Saraswati Kantha Bharana, medicine, Ayurveda Sarvasva, politics, Yukti Kalpataru, art and architecture, Samarangana Sutradhara, yoga, Raja Martanda, Shaivism, Tutva Prakasha. So these are the various books written on various subjects by Raja Bhoja of the Paramaras of Malwa. He built a city called Bhojapur. It is in Bihar. You have Bhojpuri language, isn't it? Bhojpuri is a popular language in Bihar. We have Bhojpuri movies also. So you have a new city called Bhojapur, which he built, and he excavated the Bhojpur lake, and he built a Sanskrit. He built a Sanskrit college in a Saraswati temple. So inside the temple, he built a college, a Sanskrit college within a Saraswati temple. That is called Bhojashala or Saraswati Kantha Bharana Vidyalaya. Saraswati Kantha Bharana Vidyalaya. He's supposed to have built totally 104 temples, and he worshipped Saraswati as Vagdevi. You can see the picture here. This is Vagdevi. Vagdevi. So he worshipped Saraswati goddess as Vagdevi, and we have the statue of Vagdevi presented along with the Gnanapita award. So when Gnanapita award is given to various people, recipients, a bronze image or an idol of goddess Vagdevi is given. So he worshipped Saraswati, goddess Saraswati as Vagdevi. This Raja Bhoja. Then Udayaditya built these temples, Nilakanteshwara and Udayeshwara temple at Udaipur in Madhya Pradesh. And Malak Deo was the last king. Alauddin Khalji captured Malwa and executed him. So Alauddin Khalji ended the rule of the Paramaras of Malwa when he killed Malak Deo. That was their last king. Then we come to the Solankis or Chalukyas of Gujarat. The Solankis or the Chalukyas of Gujarat, their capital was Anahilapataka or Anhilwada, also called Patan in Gujarat, now called Patan in Gujarat. So who was there? Who were the important kings? Mula Raja was their founder, Mula Raja. Then we have Bhima the First. So this is the time when Mahmud of Ghazni attacked Somnath, and Bhima the First ran away without a fight. So the Somnath temple was pulled down, the idol was smashed to pieces, and huge amount of wealth was carried away by Mahmud Ghazni. So once Mahmud Ghazni left after plundering Somnath, Bhima the First came back and rebuilt the temple. He rebuilt the temple. So Mahmud Ghazni plundered Somnath during his period. And please understand, this temple at Somnath, Gujarat, has been destroyed and rebuilt many times. The last king to have destroyed this temple was Emperor Aurangzeb. So Emperor Aurangzeb ordered the destruction of many temples, including Somnath. The Kashi Vishwanath temple was destroyed by him, demolished on his orders. The Keshavaraya temple at Mathura, the Krishna temple at Mathura was destroyed by him, and a mosque was built in its place. Then also he was responsible for the destruction of the Somnath temple. So when India became independent in 1947, there was no Somnath temple, right? When India became independent. Then who built the latest Somnath temple? It was built after independence, India's independence, under the orders of the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. You can see on your screen, this is the Somnath temple. Oh my God, I have not put it. It is missing here. I thought I had put the picture. Okay, doesn't matter. We'll come back there. So whatever Somnath temple you see now was constructed under the orders of under the orders of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So whatever Somnath temple is now is a post-independent India construction, right? So Bhima the First was the king when the Somnath temple was destroyed by Mahmud Ghazni. Then we have the Dilwara temple at Mount Abu, which was built in his reign. This is the Dilwara temple at Mount Abu, a popular temple for the Jains. Dilwara temple at Mount Abu. Then we have his general Vimala, who built Vimala Vasahi at Mount Abu. So this is another Jain temple, Vimala Vasahi at Jain temple, a Jain temple at Mount Abu. And his queen built Rani Ka Vav. So his queen, his queen's name was Udayamati. That is missing here, Udayamati. His queen Udayamati built the Rani Ka Vav. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What is Vav? Vav is a step well. Rani Ki Vav. You can see here, this is Rani Ki Vav at Patan, built by Bhima the First's queen, Udayamati. Queen Udayamati. Rani Ki Vav. Right? Right? Then we come to Jayasimha Siddharaja, the greatest of the Chalukyas of Gujarat, the Solankis, the Jayasimha Siddharaja. So understand this. He was the greatest, and he founded a city called Siddhapura. Now he patronized a scholar called Hemachandra. You see here on your screen Hemachandra. So Hemachandra was patronized by this Jayasimha Siddharaja of the Solankis or the Chalukyas of Gujarat. And Hemachandra was a great scholar. He was a Jain scholar. He wrote a number of books. These are the various books written by Hemachandra. On your screen, put in a box here. Siddha Hemachandra on Sanskrit grammar. Neminatha Charitra. Neminatha Charitra on Neminatha, the 22nd Tirthankar, the 24 Tirthankaras in Jainism. Who's a Tirthankara, etc. Well, I'll discuss when I do Jainism. So Neminatha was the 22nd Tirthankar. Then Trishashti Lakshana, Trishashti Shakala Purusha, Trishashti Shakala Purusha on the biographies of 23 Jain monks, 63 Jain monks. So see, Trishashti Lakshana Purana it is called. Then Parishishta Parvan. So in this book called Parishishta Parvan, we have details given by Hemachandra regarding the division of the Jain Sangha into Digambar and Shwetambar. Digambara and Shwetambara. How did this division happen? Shwetambara. So I told you the story when I did Mauryan period. Remember when Chandragupta Maurya was ruling the Mauryan Empire, there was a famine in Magadha, and this famine lasted for 12 years. And there was no rain for 12 years. So you have a group of Jain monks migrating towards South India under their leader Bhadrabahu. Chandragupta also joined these monks after giving away the throne to his son Bindusar. And these monks come to South India to a place called Shramana Belagola. Some monks stayed back in the Magadha valley, that is under their leader Stulabhadra. And later, after some years, when the southern monks went to North India, they saw that the followers of Stulabhadra or Stulabahu had covered their private parts with white cloth. And these monks, the southern monks, objected. So, but then the followers of Stulabhadra, they said that they would want to cover their private part with white cloth. So that resulted in a division in the Jain Sangha into Digambar and Shwetambar. Right? This story is there in the Parishishta Parvan, written by Hemachandra, a 12th century scholar in the court of the Solanki king Jayasimha Siddharaja. Then Kumarapala Charita on Kumarapala, prominent Solanki ruler. So this is it. Then Kumarapala, who he was influenced by Hemachandra and he banned animal slaughter in his kingdom. Then Bhima the second. So Bhima the second was one of the kings who defeated Muhammad Ghori. So Ghazni was never defeated by any ruler. So Ghazni was a great conqueror. He was never defeated by anybody. Whereas Ghori was repeatedly defeated by many Indian kings. And among the Indian kings, we have Bhima the second of the Solankis who defeated Ghori in the Battle of Mount Tabu. The last king of the the last Hindu king of Gujarat was this man, Karnadeva. So he was the last Hindu king of Gujarat. We have Alauddin Khalji attacking Gujarat. So we'll come to that interesting topic, Alauddin Khalji. Tomorrow I will do Delhi Sultanate. I should be able to finish this today. And we can start with Delhi Sultanate tomorrow and cover all these topics. So here Alauddin Khalji wanted to conquer the whole of India. So he sent two of his officers to attack Gujarat, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan. So the king was Rai Karnadeva or Rai Karna of the Waghela dynasty of Gujarat. Karnadeva fought bravely, but unfortunately he was defeated. So what he did is he ran away with his daughter Devala Devi to Maharashtra. You can see here if this is the map. So you have Gujarat here, and this is Maharashtra. Maharashtra during those days was ruled by the Yadavas of Devagiri. Devagiri was the capital of the Yadava kingdom, and Gujarat was under the Solankis or the Chalukyas of Gujarat. So when Alauddin Khalji attacked Gujarat, Rai Karnadeva was defeated and he ran away with his daughter to the Yadava kingdom. His daughter's name was Devala Devi. Now, the mother of Devala Devi, that is the queen of Karnadeva, Kamala Devi, was caught. She was taken captive. She was captured and she was sent as a gift to Alauddin Khalji. So Alauddin Khalji later married Kamala Devi. So we'll come to Alauddin Khalji, interesting chap. So this is the end of the rule of the Cholankis of Gujarat when Alauddin Khalji captured Gujarat. And Karnadeva ran away to Devagiri. So we'll take a break here, 15 minutes break. We'll come back. Okay. Parishishta Parvan, Satyam, Parishishta Parvan was written by Hemachandra in the 12th century. And in that book, we have it's a Jain book. And in that book, we have the circumstances which led to the division of the Jain Sangha into Digambara and Shwetambar. In that book, also, we are told that Chandragupta Maurya abdicated the throne in favor of his son Bindusar and went away to South India, to Shravana Belagola, and he committed Sallekhana there. So it doesn't belong to the Mauryan period. It gives information about the Mauryas and also information about the Jain Sangha into that is Digambara and Shvetambara, how it came about. Did you understand? Satyam. Idol worship sometime in the post Maurya period, Shyam. Sometime in the post Maurya period, you have the Mahayana Buddhists who began to worship Buddha in the form of idols, and idol worship was later adopted by the Hindus, by the Vedic Brahmanas, right? So we'll take a break. We'll take a 15 minutes break and come back. 15 minutes break. So we'll meet exactly at 8:05 on my watch. 8:05. Class starts. Okay. So I'm Good morning once again. Can we begin? Audible, visible? Am I audible and visible? Can we begin? Okay. So we discussed about the Paramaras of Malwa and the Solankis or the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Let us look at other dynasties. The Chandelas of Bundelkhand. The Chandelas of Bundelkhand. So where is Bundelkhand, Madhya Pradesh? So they ruled over Bundelkhand, also called Jajaka Bukti. So they're also called Jajaka Bukti. Um, and they had two capitals. One was Mahoba in UP, and the other was Khajuraho in Madhya Pradesh. Now, earliest Hindi inscriptions were supposedly issued by them, the Chandelas of Bundelkhand. And what is interesting about the Chandelas is, we'll be talking this as part of art and architecture. They built a number of temples at Khajuraho. And Khajuraho is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right? It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. What we see at Khajuraho, you see, um, we have three forms of temple building on your screen. We'll talk about it as part of art and culture. We have Nagara style. Nagara style is what? North Indian style of temple building. Then we have Dravida style. Dravida is South Indian style of temple building. And then Nagara and Dravida combination. A mixture of Nagara and Dravida is called Vesara style. Vesara is combination of North Indian Nagara and South Indian Dravida. Now, Nagara temples have some standard features. When I do art and architecture, we'll talk about it. Like, for example, temples are built of bricks in North India. You have the spire on top of the Garbhagriha, which curves to a point at the top. So it is curvilinear in shape, right? You have the Garbhagriha. What is Garbhagriha? In English, sanctum sanctorum. So you have the Garbhagriha, which curves to a point like this at the top. There is no boundary wall in a North Indian temple, right? Then there is no temple tank in a North Indian temple, what is called Kalyanis in South India, right? So there's no temple tank. You have river goddesses Ganga and Yamuna on the door jambs of the Garbhagriha. So all those things are there as part of North Indian temples. So apart from the standard Nagara temples, the features of a standard Nagara temple, what we notice is, you can see on your screen, in Orissa, this is Orissa for you, in Orissa, then we have Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat and Rajasthan. Gujarat and Rajasthan. In these three places, we have some additional features made to Nagara style. Additional features have been added to Nagara style in Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat and Rajasthan. Now, in Madhya Pradesh, we have the Chandelas who ruled Madhya Pradesh. They built temples at Khajuraho. So this is another sub school of the Nagara style at Khajuraho, apart from Orissa and Gujarat and Rajasthan. Now, temples were dedicated to Hinduism and Jainism. So you have Hindu gods, both Shiva and Vishnu, and as well as Jain Tirthankaras. So temples at Khajuraho are dedicated to Hinduism, and Jainism. And what we notice is, on the outer walls of these temples, we have very beautiful sculptures, but the theme is erotic in nature. That is, we have the Kama Sutra of Vatsyayana, which is the theme on the outer walls of these temples. So erotic sculptures are seen. Kama Sutra is India's earliest textbook on sexuology, written by Vatsyayana. So on the outer walls of these temples, we see male and females in various sexual postures depicted on the outer walls of the Khajuraho temples, and you will be shocked. You have gone to pray there, and what are you seeing there on the outer walls of these temples? But then there's a purpose behind it. You see, in uh, in um, in Hinduism, generally there are three methods to attain moksha. What is moksha? Salvation, freedom from rebirth. That is bhakti marga, then gnana marga, and karma marga. right? Apart from these three standard ways to attain moksha or salvation, there's a fourth method. There's a fourth method as described by the Tantris. This is called through sexual practices. One can attain moksha through sexual practices. And this is part of Tantrism. This is part of Tantrism. And this is what has been depicted on the outer walls of temples, on the outer walls of the temple. Inside the temple, you don't see such erotic sculptures. So what the sculptor is trying to tell you is, whatever a human being desires, we have the purusharthas, aims of life, isn't it? What are the purusharthas, aims of life? I have discussed this as part of Vedic period. Aims of life, purusharthas. What are the four purusharthas? Dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So, as a human being, we have all these desires: dharma, righteousness. You want to, you want to, for example, your dharma is to gain knowledge at this stage. You are a student. You are all students. So, your dharma is to gain knowledge. My dharma is to teach as a teacher. So, everybody should not be sitting. Anybody should not be sitting idle. They should be doing some work. Then artha is gaining wealth, right? Kama, satisfying your desires, including sexual desires within the institution of marriage. So, as a human being, we like food, some exotic food, tasty food. You want to own a certain car or a bike. You want to go abroad. You want to own, etc., things, etc. So, whatever you want, God has given you. And ultimately, ultimately, everybody have to attain moksha. So that's what is depicted on the outer walls of these temples. Whatever you require as human being, God has given you all those attractions. But then once you enter the temple, inside the temple, you're supposed to forget all your other things and focus on the deity, because ultimately we all need to merge with the deity. That is a belief, right, among the Hindus. So this is what is depicted on the outer walls of these temples. Most of these temples were built by three kings: Ganda, Danga, Vidyadhara. So almost all these temples were built by three kings of the Chandelas: Danga, Ganda, Vidyadhara. What are the features of Khajuraho temples? We'll talk about it when we do art and architecture, right? So what are the important temples? Lakshmana temple, Kandarya Mahadeva temple, Devi Jagadamba, Chaturbhuja, Duladeyo, Parshvanatha, etc. All dedicated to Hinduism and Jainism, not Buddhism, only Hinduism and Jainism. So this is the Chandelas of Bundelkhand. There are two capitals, Mahoba and Khajuraho. Then we come to the Chauhans or Chahamanas of Sakambari. So that was their capital. Sakambari was their initial capital, later Ajmer. Ajmer was their capital. So who are the important kings? Vigraha Raja the fourth, Vishala Deva. Vigraha Raja the fourth, Vishala Deva. He wrote a drama on Vishnu called Harikeli Nataka. Right? Then then with the greatest of, then of course you have this king Vigraha Raja the fourth, Vishaladeva, conquering Delhi from the Tomaras. So Anangpal Tomara was the Tomaras ruled Delhi. So this Vigraha Raja the fourth, Vishaladeva, conquered Delhi from the Tomara king Anangpal Tuar or Tomar. The greatest of the Chauhans was Prithviraj Chauhan the third. Prithviraj Chauhan the third, or also called Prithviraja the third. He was the greatest of the Chauhan kings. He's called Rai Pithura in Persian literature. Rai Pithura. Now, look here, very interesting on your screen. So, this Prithviraj Chauhan, Prithviraja the third, also called Prithviraj third or Prithviraj Chauhan, was in love with the neighboring king's daughter. Who was the neighboring king? We have the Gahadwala dynasty. His name was Jayachandra. And the dynasty he belonged to was the Gahadwalas. Gahadwala. So this was the name of the dynasty. So the daughter of Jayachandra was Samyukta or Sanyojita. So her name was Samyukta. Okay, and Prithviraja the third, the neighboring king, the Chauhan king, was in love with Samyukta, and she was also in love with him. Now, but Jayachandra hated Prithviraja the third. So what happened is, having known that father doesn't like Prithviraj, Samyukta was either way she had decided to marry Prithviraj Chauhan, so she ran away Prithviraj, in fact, kidnapped Samyukta and they got married. She became the queen of Prithviraja III. Now, and so this love story between Prithviraja III and Samyukta is written by Chand Bardai in his Prithviraj Raso. Prithviraja Raso. And he also writes another book called Prithviraja Charitra. So the theme is the love and marriage of Prithviraja III and Samyukta, the Gahadwala princess. Now, though Prithviraja III became the son-in-law of Jayachandra, Jayachandra's hatred for Prithviraja III did not come down, did not reduce. Now, you see, we have in 1191 the first battle of Tarain. The first battle of Tarain. Tarain is Thaneshwar, another name for Thaneshwar in Haryana. This first battle of Tarain was fought between Mahmud Ghori versus Prithviraja III. In this particular battle, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Ghori. He defeated Ghori and he spared him. But he did not kill him. He spared him and asked him to go back. This is the mistake he made. He should have killed him. Now, 1192, we have the second battle of Tarain. This is the first battle of Tarain. Then we have the second battle of Tarain. Second battle of Tarain. In this battle, again we have Ghori fighting against Prithviraja III. And you see in this battle, we have the Gahadwala king Jayachandra supporting Ghori. So father-in-law of Prithviraja III, Jayachandra, supported Ghori. And with the help of Jayachandra, Ghori was able to defeat Prithviraja III. So Ghori won this battle. Prithviraja III was defeated. And then he was allowed to rule as the vassal of Ghori for some time. And later, on the grounds of treason, he was executed by Ghori. Now, 2 years later, that is in 1194, we have another battle which was fought. This is known as the Battle of Chandwar. The Battle of Chandwar. Who fought this battle? This was fought between Ghori and Jayachandra. The same person who had helped Ghori earlier fought against Ghori. So Ghori versus Jayachandra. And in this battle, Jayachandra was killed by Ghori. So the second battle of Tarain, that is 1192, and the battle of Chandwar, 1194, laid the foundation of Turkish rule in India. Understand this. The second battle of Tarain, 1192, and the battle of Chandwar in 1194 laid the foundations of Turkish rule in India. Now we come back here. Did you get me here, all of you? So Prithviraj III was the greatest of the Chauhans, called Rai Pitura, and his court poet Chand Bardai writes Prithviraj Raso, which is the marriage of Prithviraj III with Gahadwala princess Samyukta. It is considered as the first literary work in Hindi, I believe, but scholars are doubtful regarding its authenticity. Two battles were fought by Ghori against Prithviraj. First is the first battle of Tarain in 1191. Prithviraj defeated Ghori. And the second battle of Tarain, Ghori defeated Prithviraja. And this battle, the second battle of Tarain and the battle of Chandwar, laid the foundation of Turkish rule in India. Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah? Did you understand what I just now said? Now, imagine if father-in-law and son-in-law had joined together, if Prithviraj Chauhan and Jayachandra had joined together, Ghori couldn't have done anything. But here, father-in-law helped Ghori to kill Prithviraj. And later, Jayachandra himself was killed by Ghori. So this shows the lack of political foresight on the part of the Rajputs. They were very brave people, no doubt about it, always busy fighting against each other. But they did not have the political foresight to think that tomorrow the next attack might be on their own kingdom. So the king is rejoicing that his enemy has been killed by Ghori, and then without realizing that the next attack might be on his own kingdom. So this is the the Chauhans, and then we come to the Rathors or the Gahadwalas. the Rathors or the Gahadwalas. They ruled from Kanauj as their capital. So we have three important kings here. One is Chandradeva, Govinda Chandra, and Jay Chandra. What is so? This Chandradeva issued a tax, imposed a tax called Turushka Danda. So what is this Turushka Danda? So this was a tax imposed by Chandradeva, and and historians tell us that this Turushka Danda could be any of these three. First of all, it could be a tax to defray the expenses of the war against Muslim invasions. So when Gori, Ghazni attacked, you require money to fight wars. Why do you require money? To buy equipment, to buy horses, to pay salaries to your officers and soldiers, etc., to buy ammunition. So you require money for all these things. So it could be a tax to meet the expenses of the war. This Turushka Danda, that could be one. Number two, it could be a tax imposed on the people to buy off the enemy. So, Satnam, what will the enemy do when Gori attacks? He wants to loot and plunder. He will defeat the king and then he'll engage in loot and plunder. So, Chandradeva thought, let us collect a certain amount of money as taxes from the people and we will offer that to the invader. Instead of the invader engaging in loot and plunder, we can offer that money to the invader and so that he can just go away without doing any damage. So it could be a tax for that purpose, or it could be a separate tax imposed on the resident Muslims of that kingdom. So there'll be Muslims living in the Rathor kingdom. So it might be a tax imposed on specifically on those Muslim subjects under the Rathors. It could be any of these three. It could be a tax to defray the expenses of the war. It could be a tax to buy off the enemy. Or thirdly, it could be a tax specifically imposed on the resident Muslims of that kingdom. So this is called Turushka Danda, a tax imposed by Chandradeva. Then we have another king, Govinda Chandra. He was the greatest. And his minister, Lakshmidhara, wrote Kalpadrumam and Kritya Kalpataru on contemporary law. A book on contemporary law, Kalpadruma or Kritya Kalpataru. Kalpataru. Then, of course, we have Jayachandra, who was the sworn enemy of Prithviraj III. So, Jayachandra patronized Sri Harsha, who wrote Naisada Charitam. Naisada Charita, a Sanskrit book. And this book Naisada Charita, became the inspiration to Srinatha's Telugu work, Sringara Naisadam. So, we have a Telugu scholar called Srinatha who wrote Sringara Naisadam. So, this was the Naisada Charita was the inspiration for this particular book written by Srinatha. So Jayachandra was later killed by Gori in the Battle of Chandwar in 1194. That was the end of the Rathors. Then we have the Sisodias of Mewar, or the Guhilots, or the Guhilas, or the Sisodias, considered to be the bravest amongst the Rajputs. Right? So they ruled from, these are the various capitals of the Sisodias, Nagaharda, then Agatha, and later Chittor in Rajasthan. Right? Nagaharda, Agatha, and Chittor. So we have Rana Ratan Singh, who fought against Alauddin Khalji. You must have seen that movie Padmavat, isn't it? Padmavat, where who's that heroine? Deepika Padukone has acted as Padmavati, Rani Padmavati, and her husband is Rana Ratan Singh. So Rana Ratan Singh fought bravely against Alauddin Khalji, but he was killed in the battle. Don't take that movie seriously. A lot of historical error is there in that movie. So it is only a commercial cinema for entertainment. So leave it at that. You come back here. Rana Ratan Singh, he fought against Alauddin Khalji. All the women, including Rani Padmini, burned themselves to death. So Jauhar Saka, we'll talk about it when we do Delhi Sultanate, the ritual of Jauhar Saka, which was followed by the Rajputs. So Ratan Singh belonged to the Sisodia dynasty. He died fighting Alauddin Khalji in 1303, and Alauddin Khalji conquered Chittor in Rajasthan. Then Rana Kumbha, he built a victory tower, a Jayastamba called Vijayastamba at Chittorgarh. So this is the Vijayastamba or victory pillar. So he defeated the combined armies of Malwa and Gujarat. So the sultans of Malwa and Gujarat combinedly attacked Mewar, and Rana Kumbha was able to defeat both of them. So this is to mark that victory, he built one victory pillar at Chittorgarh. This is called Vijayastamba. Then we have Rana Uday Singh the second. Rana Uday Singh the second fought against Akbar We'll talk about it when I do Akbar, and of course Rana Pratap, who defied Akbar. So Akbar gave a lot of concessions to the Rajputs. He told the Rajputs, "You accept me as your warlord and pay tribute to me. I'll allow you to rule over your own kingdoms." And initially, many Rajputs defied. Akbar defeated them, but once he defeated them, they agreed to accept Akbar as their warlord. And Akbar also married many Rajput princesses. But then the Sisodias defied Akbar. They said, "Why should we bow down before you?" And they defied Akbar. We have Rana Pratap, who fought the famous battle of Haldigati against Man Singh, the commander of Akbar. So we'll talk about it when I do Akbar. So these are the brave Sisodias. Then we have the Kalachuris of Chedi. They ruled over Tripuri. Tripuri, not Tripura. This is Tripuri near Jabalpur, Madhya Pradesh. It's Tripuri. So Yuva Raja. So when you have the Rashtrakuta king Krishna the Third attacking the Kalachuris, Yuva Raja is supposed to have repelled the attack of Krishna the Third. And to commemorate this, to celebrate this, we have a drama which was staged by his poet Rajashekara called Vidhasalabhanjika. Vidhasalabhanjika at Yuvaraja's court. So there was a drama called Vidhasalabhanjika, uh, um, staged by poet Rajashekara, the poet of Yuvaraja the first. Gangaya Deva, only king to issue gold, silver, copper coins of this dynasty. In the 13th century, they were conquered by the Delhi Sultans. The Kalachuris were also conquered by the Delhi Sultans. Then we have the Tomaras, the last dynasty which we are discussing, the Tomaras. So they ruled from Dhillikapuram. So Delhi um, was called Dhillikapuram. And in the Mahabharata times, it was called Indraprastha. It was called Indraprastha in the Mahabharata epic. So you have Anangpal Tumar. So Anangpal Tumar founded Dhillikapuram in 736 AD and thus established the Tomara dynasty. So in the middle of the 12th century, the Chauhans conquered Delhi, and later you have Aibak, Qutbuddin Aibak, conquering Delhi after the second battle of Tarain. It came under Aibak after the second battle of Tarain in 1192. So this is about the Rajput dynasties. Are you there with me, all of you? Now we have a story. Rana Kumbha fought. No, Rana Kumbha. Yeah. They came much later. They all belong to the Sisodia dynasty. They came much later. Zeba, Rana. These are important kings of that dynasty. Rana Ratan Singh, Rana Kumbha. So Rana Ratan Singh was in the 14th century. You see, he was defeated by Alauddin Khilji in 1303, whereas Rana Kumbha belonged to the 15th century. So they will belong to different time periods. Now, how has the name Delhi come about? How has the name Delhi come about? So we will talk about it. Very interesting story. And there is a story around this pillar. This is the Mehroli pillar at Delhi. You can see here, this is the pillar. All of you know this pillar. We have done this Gupta period. So this was a pillar made of iron, isn't it? It's made of iron. It belongs to the period of Chandragupta the second, the Gupta king. Chandragupta the second, Vikramaditya. So there is a story around this pillar as to how the name Delhi has come about. Delhi is our capital, the capital of India. So let us understand how the name Delhi has come about. So there is a story surrounding this pillar. So we are told that when Anangpal Tumar, you can see on your screen, Anangpal Tumar, he was a Tomara king. So when Anangpal Tumar was ruling Delhi, so he belonged to the Tomara dynasty, isn't it? Anangpal Tumar. So when he was ruling Delhi, a Brahmin came to his court, I believe. So some Brahmin walked into his court and told Anangpal Tumar that you will rule till this pillar is erect. So this pillar belongs to the period of the Gupta period. It belongs to the Gupta period, isn't it? So 5th century AD. It belongs to the 5th century AD. So this pillar was there even in the 8th, 9th century AD when the Tomaras were ruling. So when the king Anangpal Tumar was the king of Delhi, a Brahmin came to his court and told him that you will rule till this pillar is erect. And that Brahmin is supposed to have told him this pillar, the iron pillar, is resting on the head of the serpent king Vasuki. So look here, I'll draw this. So this is the serpent king. This is the serpent. Okay, this is the serpent king, Vasuki. And this pillar is standing or resting on the head of the serpent king, Vasuki. This is the iron pillar. And this is a snake, Vasuki. King of the snake is called Vasuki. So he says, this pillar is resting on the head of the serpent king, Vasuki. And Anantpal Tumar, you're going to rule till this pillar is erect. And the Brahmin walked away. So Anantpal Tumar, I believe, got scared. What if the snake shakes its head? If the snake shakes its head, what will happen? The pillar will fall down and then I will die. That will be the end of my rule. So he wanted to confirm whether there's really a snake underneath that pillar. So he ordered his workers to start digging the earth around the pillar. So the workers began to dig the earth around the pillar, and they dug up a few feet below the ground, I believe, maybe 4 5 feet below the ground around the pillar. And then suddenly, what the workers noticed was some blood. They noticed some blood, and the workers got scared. They thought while digging the earth, they have harmed the serpent king Vasuki. So they have hit the head of the serpent king Vasuki, and blood is coming out from the head of the serpent king Vasuki. So they got scared, and then they again filled up that pit. They filled up that pit which they had dug around the pillar, around the iron pillar. Now, till now, I believe the pillar was standing erect. But once the earth around the pillar was dug up, the pillar became a little dhili. In Hindi, dhili is what? Loose. So it became a little loose. And the word Delhi is from the word dhili. This is how the name Delhi has come about. Are you there with me? This was asked in an interview, in the UPSC interview to one candidate. Interesting. Yeah, so so this story is there in Upinder Singh's book. This is not important for you. So we have ancient and medieval Indian history written by Upinder Singh, daughter of the Prime Minister of India, former Prime Minister of India, Manmohan Singh. So she's a scholar of JNU, teacher, research scholar and teacher in JNU, professor in JNU. So she is the one who's written about this in her book, Ancient and Medieval Indian History, Upinder Singh's book. So it's there in that. So this is how the name. Dhyana, is it true? No, don't ask me such questions. Don't ask me such questions. Listen to the story, that's all. Now, Anantpal Tomar also thought on similar lines and he wanted to confirm by digging the earth around the pillar. Now, some people call Delhi as Dehali. I don't know about that, Sunny, but this is the story. Now, this is a Musarraf. Britannica might say that, but then Britannica might not know this story as narrated by Professor Upinder Singh in her book. So I'm telling you, there may be different versions to the name Delhi, but this is a standard version, the standard story around the name Delhi, as to how the name Delhi came about. A story surrounding this iron pillar, which is at Mehroli in Delhi, right? Now let us come to other aspects. Early Muslim invasions on India, Ghazni and Ghori. So we talk about Mahmud of Ghazni. Mahmud of Ghazni, 997 to 1030 AD. So he belonged to the Ghaznavid dynasty. And he had his capital at Ghazni in Afghanistan. So in Ghazni in Afghanistan was the capital of Ghazni, Mahmud Ghazni. That's why it's called Mahmud of Ghazni. The most prominent king among the Ghaznavid rulers. So Ghazni, you see, I told you, he was a person who was interested in the wealth of India. So he was interested in only the wealth of India. He did not want to conquer anything from India. He only wanted to loot the temples of India. And he timed his attack beautifully after the harvest. After the harvest, in the winter season. In the winter season, he will attack. He used to attack. So in a span of 28 years, 1000 to 1028, 17 times, Mahmud of Ghazni attacked India 17 times. So, of course, he is a great hero in the Islamic world. He built a number of mosques, rest houses, um, dharmshalas, etc. In Ghazni, and patronized a number of scholars. But then, by attacking temples, he hurt the religious sentiments of the Hindus, the majority of the population of India. He hurt their sentiments. So, certain amount of animosity or dislike or hatred led to that against the Muslims. Certain amount of animosity was created amongst the people of India against the Muslims at that point in time, because Ghazni would come and hurt the religious sentiments of the people of India by attacking their temples and looting and plundering them. Along with Mahmud Ghazni came a scholar called Al-Biruni, and this Al-Biruni accompanied Ghazni in his raids. So he is the first Muslim Indologist. You can call him as the first Muslim Indologist. Indologist is somebody who takes interest in India's history, culture, philosophy, religion, etc. Al-Biruni. And Al-Biruni learned Sanskrit. He stayed in India for about 12 years. He learned Sanskrit, and he translated a number of books from Sanskrit into Arabic language. Sanskrit into Arabic language. Books on astronomy, books on medicine, Sanskrit books on medicine, mathematics, etc. were translated into mineralogy, etc. were translated from Sanskrit into Arabic language. And Al-Biruni wrote a book called Kitabul Hind. Kitabul Hind or Tehqiqul Hind. And this book, Kitabul Hind or Tehqiqul Hind, is known as the mirror of 11th century India. So from this book, we come to know what was happening in India in the 11th century, the political, social, economic conditions of India, right? So this is about Mahmud of Ghazni. He was never defeated by any Indian ruler. The major attack of his in 1025, he attacked Somnath and destroyed the Somnath temple. We have discussed this sometime back. Bhima the first was the king of Gujarat. The Solankis were ruling, the Chalukyas of Gujarat or the Solankis. So Bhima ran away without a fight. So I think I put the temple picture here. You can see this is the Somnath temple. Yeah, I was looking for this picture. You can see on your screen, this is a Somnath temple in Junagadh, Gujarat, at a place called Veraval. So this is among the 12 Jyotirlingas of India. There are 12 Jyotirlingas. Like maximum are in Maharashtra: Bhima Shankar, Trayambakeshwar, Krishneshwar, right? Aundagnath, Nagnath. So about 4 are in Maharashtra. I think about 2 are in Madhya Pradesh. The one is in Tamil Nadu, Rameshwaram. This is one, the original Jyotirlinga at Somnath in Gujarat. So this temple was built only after India's independence in 1951. Okay, and because of the encouragement and blessings of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So this is a post-independent India construction. So we look at Ghazni here, greatest of the Ghaznavid dynasty. Then he was a religious bigot. So he was intolerant, and he destroyed temples, demolished or demolished idols. So he's called Booth Chicken. Booth Chicken means idol breaker. The Caliph conferred on him a number of titles. Yaminud Dawla, the right hand of the empire. Aminul Mulk, trustee of the empire. So these are the various titles conferred upon Ghazni by the Caliph. So these are the important raids of Ghazni. As you can see on your screen, I have put a chart for your convenience. In 1000 AD, that was his first expedition. He conquered Lamghan fort from the Hindu Shahis. So Hindu Shahis were ruling over present parts of North Afghanistan, Central Asia, Southern Central Asia, Northern Afghanistan. That area they were ruling. And we have the king called Jayapala. So Jayapala was defeated in 1001 AD by Mahmud Ghazni. Jayapala was so much humiliated that he burned himself to death. So he belonged to the Hindu Shahi dynasty, Jayapala. Then we have the conquest of Multan. So Multan was called the gateway to India. Multan, which is now in Pakistan, it was called the gateway to India. So he conquers Multan in 1005. Then he plundered Nagarkot in Himachal Pradesh, what is called Kangra now. So he plundered Nagarkot in his Nagarkot campaign. Then he defeated the son of Jayapala, Anandapala, in the Battle of Vaihind in 1008. Plundered Mathura, invaded and destroyed Kannauj in 1018. And the major attack of Mahmud of Ghazni was on Somnath. He plundered Somnath. So it was a meticulously conducted operation, and he carried away wealth on hundreds and thousands of bullock carts and camels. And his last expedition, he defeated the Jats of the Punjab in 1027, right? So the destruction of Somnath happened in 1025. So this is Shiva on the facade of the Somnath temple. Facade is what is facing us, the main entrance. So on the main entrance, on the top, we see Shiva dancing as Nataraja, right? So you see, this is the court of Mahmud of Ghazni. He's a great hero in the Islamic world. So Ghazni. So he patronized a number of scholars. So um the historian Muhammad Habib calls his raids as economic raids. Um, so he says that he was only interested in the wealth of the country, and in trying to loot the wealth of the country, unconsciously or unknowingly, he might have hurt the religious sentiments. He hurt the religious sentiments of the Hindus. So Ghazni patronized these scholars. Utbi, who wrote Tariq-i Yamini in Persian language. Firdausi, so he takes away Firdausi from India. So Mahmud of Ghazni took away Firdausi, a scholar from India, and ordered Firdausi to write his biography. So the Shahnama, written by Firdausi, is the biography of Ghazni. It is the biography of Mahmud Ghazni, the Shahnama. And Firdausi is called the Homer of the East. Al-Biruni, I told you, he accompanied Ghazni in his raids, and he learned Sanskrit. He lived in India for about 12 years, 1018 to 1020. He translated a number of books from Sanskrit into Persian. For example, Varaha Mahira's Paulita Siddhanta, Brihat Samhita, Euclid's Principles of Geometry. Then he wrote 20 books in Arabic, such as Kanuni Masudi on astronomy, Jawahir Fil Jawahir on mineralogy, and he writes a book called Kitabul Hind or Tehqiq-i Hind on India, which is considered to be the mirror of 11th century India. Now, in this book called Kitabul Hind or Tehqiq-i Hind, this Al-Biruni talks about the insular attitude of Indians, particularly the Brahmins, insular attitude of Brahmins. So he says the educated classes are the Brahmins of India. They are the educated classes, educated sections of Indian society. And he criticizes the Brahmins. He says, Brahmins of the 11th century, yeah? What he says is, these Brahmins think too high of themselves. They think that they have the knowledge of the entire world in their mind. They don't need to learn anything from anybody because they know they have answers to all the questions in the world in their minds. So they don't need to learn anything from anybody. And they know a lot, but then they don't disclose that information to their own people. So they know the answers to many things, but they don't want to tell the answer to their own people. What about an outsider like me? And he says the ancestors of the 11th century Indians were not like this. So they would share information. The ancestors of the 11th century Indians, they were also widely traveled. They also knew what was happening in other parts of the world. They were interested in other parts of the world. The ancestors of the 11th century Indians. So he criticizes the attitude of the Brahmanas of the 11th century, Al-Biruni. At the same time, Al-Biruni tells us that it was easy to defeat Indians in warfare because Indians, he says, mind you, of the 11th century, yeah, he says Indians had no techniques of warfare. They had no techniques of warfare. They had no knowledge of history writing, no knowledge of history writing. They don't know how to write history, he says, no knowledge of history writing. Then Al-Biruni tells us what is the reason why it is easy to defeat Indians because of the structure of the society, Indian society, the caste system. Because of the structure of the Indian society, the caste system, it is easy to defeat the Indians in war because you have the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and the Shudra. when war happens, only the Kshatriya goes out to fight. The Brahmana is doing his job of a teacher or a priest. The Vaishya is doing business or agriculture, and the Shudra is doing other menial jobs. Nobody is bothered. Only the Kshatriya goes out to fight, and therefore it was easy to defeat the Indians, according to Ghazni. So these are all the observations made by Mahmud Ghazni in his book Kitabul Hind or Tehqiq Hind as such. Right? This is about Mahmud Ghazni. Are you there with me? Mahmud of Ghazni. Now we'll come to scholar. Scholar is somebody who's well read. He understands many things. Okay, so then we come to um, so here, of course, we have a lot of people taken away as slaves, women, children, able-bodied men. They began to be taken away as slaves by Mahmud Ghazni from the time of Mahmud Ghazni onwards. So, for example, we have Chronicle Al-Utbi. Al-Utbi gives all these details, right? So, slavery, many women, children, able-bodied men were taken away as slaves. Once Mahmud Ghazni began to attack repeatedly. Then Muhammad Ghori, about 150 years after the death of Ghazni, we have another person called Ghori who began to attack India. So he belonged to the Ghurid dynasty. So Mahmud Ghazni belonged to the Ghaznavid dynasty. He belonged to the Ghaznavid dynasty. And below the Ghaznavids, we have the Ghurids. We have the Ghurids. The Ghurids were serving under the Ghaznavids as their feudatories. They were serving as feudatories. Once the Ghaznavid dynasty became weak, the Ghurids asserted themselves and they became independent. And the most popular ruler of the Ghurids was this Muhammad Ghori. And Muhammad Ghori also had Ghazni as his capital. He also ruled from Ghazni. Muhammad Ghori, also called Muizuddin Muhammad bin Sam. Muizuddin Muhammad bin Sam, also called Shihabuddin Ghori. He is also called Shihabuddin Ghori. So these are the various names of Ghori: Muhammad Ghori, Muizuddin Muhammad bin Sam, or Shihabuddin Ghori. Now, Ghori was not only interested in conquering India, he wanted to expand his empire in India. So he wanted to conquer parts of India and add it to his empire. He wanted to also spread Islam. So he was not just interested in the wealth of India like Ghazni was. Ghori wanted to conquer a few parts of India and expand or spread Islam in this country. And initially, he attacked from Gujarat and Rajasthan side, from the western side. He attacked, but he was defeated. For example, by Mula Raja II or Bhima II of the Solankis defeated Ghori. Then he changed his line of attack. He began to attack via the Punjab. And he was very, very successful once he began to attack from the Punjab, because Punjab is a land of 5 rivers, very rich in resources, natural resources, food, water, etc., plentifully available there. So this is an army of invasion. They are coming from Afghanistan, Central Asia side, and they are required to replenish their resources. Right? You require fodder for the horses, food and water for the soldiers, etc. So all was available in Punjab. So they will come into Punjab. They'll conquer a few parts of Punjab. Then they'll take rest there. They'll take rest in Punjab. They'll replenish their resources, food, water, fodder, etc. And then the next attack was on Delhi. And I told you, the between Punjab and Delhi, the only battlefield was Panipat. So therefore, 3 battles were fought at Panipat. These are the decisive battles. And whoever won at Panipat went on to rule Delhi. Right? So this is about Muhammad Ghori. He sent 2 officers to expand his empire in India. One was Qutbuddin Aibak. One was Qutbuddin Aibak. And the other was Bakhtiar Khalji. Bakhtiar Khalji. So he sent 2 officers to conquered a few parts of India, and Qutbuddin Aibak conquered a few areas like Delhi, Agra, Kalinjar, Mahoba. Bakhtiyar Khalji conquered Eastern India. The Sena dynasty came to an end. We have just done that some time back. So Bakhtiyar Khalji attacked the Sena dynasty, Sena kingdom. Lucknowti was conquered, the capital of the Senas, and Lakshmana Sena ran away without a fight. So Ghori in 1206 was assassinated. You please understand, he was assassinated at Ghazni. Thereupon, we have Qutbuddin Aibak, who proclaimed himself independent at Delhi and thus established the Delhi Sultanate in 1206. So this is about Ghori for you on your screen. He belonged to the Ghurid dynasty, right? Shihabuddin Muhammad Ghori, who ruled from Ghazni, right? And these are the important expeditions of Ghori, important wars fought by Ghori. 1175, he captured Multan in 1175. In the Battle of Mount Tabu in 1178, he was defeated by Solanki king Bhima II. Then in the first Battle of Tharain, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated him. In the second Battle of Tharain, Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated by Ghori, and he appointed Aibak as his governor. This is the origin of Turkish rule in India. In the Battle of Chandwar, Jayachandra, the Gahadwala king, was defeated. Right? So I told you the second Battle of Tharain. The second Battle of Tharain, that is in 1192, and the Battle of Chandwar plus the Battle of Chandwar, 1194, laid the foundation of Turkish rule in India. So these two battles laid the foundation of Turkish rule in India. So he was assassinated, Sunny. Who killed Ghori? He was assassinated. I also don't know his name. Rajneesh, I told you, between Punjab and Delhi, the only battlefield was Panipat. So even the Delhi Sultan, or even the king at Delhi, would come out from the capital city of Delhi to fight, to give battle to the invader. And whoever won at Panipat went on to rule Delhi. Right? So I have increased the font, Jatal. I have increased the font. So Ghori was assassinated in 1206, and four of his officers began to fight amongst themselves. One was Tajuddin Yildiz on your screen. These were the commanders under Ghori. So Tajuddin Yildiz, Nasiruddin Kabacha, Bakhtiyar Khalji, and Qutbuddin Aibak. So these are the four commanders. So Tajuddin Yildiz ruled from Ghazni. After the death of Ghori, he ruled from Ghazni. Tajuddin Yildiz. Nasiruddin Kubacha ruled from Multan. Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khalji ruled Bengal. And Qutbuddin Aibak laid the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate in 1206. Right? Then we come to the Chalukyas of Kalyana. Are you clear with me? Are you clear till here? Stephen, Ghori was killed by Prithviraj. No, Stephen. That is all a folklore. According to folklore, that is, there's no truth in truth historically. There's no truth in that. Ghori was taken, blinded. Then he was taken to Ghazni, and he knew that Shabda Vedi Ban, like Arjuna, he knew how to shoot by just hearing the sound. All that is all, not true stories. Akshata, going a little bit faster. Okay, the factual information, Akshata. When it's factual, I'll go a little fast. I'm telling you the story either way. So you'll try to understand the story. Line by line, I cannot go, right? Mohan Raj, these are all not true according to history. Ghori was defeated by Prithviraj more than 5 times. We know two major battles: first battle of Tarain, second battle of Tarain. So these are the battles, main battles according to history books. So we'll go by what is there in history books. We will not follow the WhatsApp University. WhatsApp University, a lot of information come, but we'll not follow that. So we'll come back here. The Chalukyas of Kalyana. So you see, we have the Chalukyas of Badami, isn't it? Then we have the Pallavas. So Chalukyas of Badami. And then we have the Pallavas. They fought over the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. Over this area, they fought Krishna Tungabhadra basin. Then Chalukyas of Badami were succeeded by the Rashtrakutas. We have seen this. And the Pallavas were succeeded by the Cholas. So Rashtrakutas also fought against the Cholas. Rashtrakutas were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukyas. Kalyana Chalukyas. They ruled from Basava Kalyan in Bida district of Karnataka. And the Kalyana Chalukyas also fought against the Cholas. Now, are you clear with me? We have done this. I've given you the sort of a timeline. Now, the Rashtrakutas were succeeded by the Kalyana Chalukyas. They ruled from Kalyani, that is modern Basava Kalyan, in the Bida district of Karnataka. So their initial capital was Malkhed, then Yatagiri and Kalyani. So you can see here on your screen, Malkhed was their initial capital, more Manyaketa. Manyaketa was the capital of the Rashtrakutas. Initial capital of Rashtrakutas was Ellora, and they shifted the capital from Ellora to Manyaketa, isn't it? Similarly, Chalukyas of Kalyana ruled initially from Malkhed or Manyaketa. Then they shifted the capital to Yatagiri, that is modern Yadgir. So you have a new district in Karnataka called Yadgir. So Yatagiri is identified with Yadgir. Okay, new district in Karnataka, Yadgir. Then, of course, from Yatagiri, they shifted the capital to Kalyani. And the Chalukyas of Kalyana fought against the Cholas. Right? So we look at the important kings, the important wars, temples, scholars they patronized, etc. So these are the important kings. Taila II, who killed the last Rashtrakuta king, Karka, and established the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom. Satyashraya, who patronized the Kannada poet Ranna, who wrote Gada Yuddha. We'll come to that, very interesting. Now look here. So be alert here, please, because when you read textbooks, you might not get, you will get confused if you don't follow this. So look here. We have the Kalyana Chalukya kingdom. This is the Kalyana Chalukyas. These are the Cholas. So these are the Cholas here, Cholas. This is the Kalyana Chalukyas, K Chalukyas. And then we have this area in Andhra Pradesh called the Vengi Chalukyas. The Chalukyas of Vengi. Vengi Chalukyas. So if I ask you a question, who established the Chalukyas of Vengi dynasty? Who established the Chalukyas of Vengi dynasty? Kubja Vishnuvardhana. Yeah, you're right, Stephen. Kubja Vishnuvardhana. Satyam is also right. That is the cousin of Pulakesha II. So Pulakesha II attacked the east coast of Andhra and appointed his brother Kubja Vishnuvardhana as the governor at Vengi. And later, Kubja Vishnuvardhana founded the Vengi Chalukyan kingdom. Now look here, understand this. The Kalyana Chalukyas and the Cholas interfered in the succession dispute at Vengi. So both the Kalyana Chalukyas and the Cholas interfered in the Vengi politics. So please understand this. How did it happen? Now, who was the greatest of the Cholas? Who was the greatest of the Cholas? We'll come to Cholas in some time. The greatest of the Cholas was Rajaraja. Rajaraja Cholan. Rajaraja. He was the greatest of the Cholas. And Rajaraja had a daughter. What was the daughter's name? Kundava. Kundava. Okay. And so Kundava was the daughter of Rajaraja. And Vengi kingdom, Vengi Chalukyan kingdom was ruled by a king. His name was Vimaladitya. 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 So Rajaraja gave his daughter Kundava in marriage to the Vengi Chalukyan prince Vimaladitya and put him on the Vengi throne. So on your screen, you have Kundava married to Vimaladitya. Okay. Now, the son born to Vimaladitya and Kundava was a man called Rajaraja Narendra. Rajaraja Narendra. So that is the son born to Vimaladitya and Kundava. Now Rajaraja died. After Rajaraja died, who became the king of the Cholas? His son Rajendra. So Rajaraja died, and Rajendra became the son, became the next king, the son of Rajaraja, Rajendra the first. Okay, the son of Rajaraja, Rajendra became the king of the Cholas, and Rajendra the first had a daughter. So what was the name of Rajendra's daughter? Her name was Amanga Devi. Amanga Devi. And this Amanga Devi was given in marriage to the son of Vimaladitya and Kundava, Rajaraja Narendra. Look here on your screen. Amanga Devi is given in marriage to Rajaraja Narendra. Okay, now around this time, when so Rajaraja Narendra was given in marriage, Amanga Devi was given in marriage to Rajaraja Narendra. This is the this is the time when the Kalyana Chalukyas interfered in Vengi politics. When the Kalyana Chalukyas supported a man called Vimaladitya. So they supported a man called, I'll use another ink. Yeah, Vimaladitya. Vijayaditya. They supported Vijayaditya, and they put Vijayaditya temporarily on the Vengi throne. So Rajaraja Narendra was driven away by the Kalyana Chalukyas from Vengi, and Vijayaditya, another contender to the throne, somebody belonging to the royal family of Vengi, who also wanted to become the king of Vengi. So they put Vijayaditya on the throne of Vengi. This angered Rajendra. So Rajendra took the Chola army. Then he attacked Vengi Chalukyas, drove away Vijayaditya, and then he put his son-in-law Rajaraja Narendra back on the throne of Vengi. So this is how the Kalyana Chalukyas and the Cholas interfered in Vengi politics. Did you understand? Please raise your hands. Did you understand? So this is how the Cholas and the Kalyana Chalukyas interfered in the succession dispute at Vengi. Right? Now look here. The son born to Rajaraja Narendra and Amanga Devi was Kulatunga. Was Kulatunga the first. Kulatunga the first. Now, what happened is, when Kulatunga the first was the king, who was Kulatunga? The son born to Rajaraja Narendra and Chola princess Amanga Devi. So that is a time when the Vengi, so he was a Chola king, Kulatunga. So that is a time when the people of Vengi kingdom, the ministers requested Kulatunga, please rule over us also. So you have Kulatunga not only ruling over Tamil Nadu, present-day Tamil Nadu, as the Chola king, he also began to rule over Andhra Pradesh. So he became the joint ruler of both Tamil and Telugu countries. He became the joint ruler of Tamil and Telugu countries. Who? Kulatunga the first. And Kulatunga is the person who founded the city of Kulatunga Cholapuram. Kulatunga Cholapuram, which is now called Vizag, that is Vishakhapatnam, now called Vishakhapatnam. Kulatunga Cholapuram. So this is how the Kalyana Chalukyas and the Cholas interfered in Vengi politics. I hope I'm clear. So I'll repeat again. I'll tell you the story again. So Kalyana Chalukyas and the Cholas interfered in the succession dispute at Vengi. They interfered in Vengi politics. Rajaraja had a daughter. Her name was Kundava, right? And this Kundava was given in marriage to the Vengi Chalukyan prince Vimaladitya, right? This is number one. This is number one, right? This is number one. So Kundava given in marriage to Vimaladitya. And the son born to Kundava and Vimaladitya was Raja Raja Narendra. Then Raja Raja was succeeded by his son Rajendra. And Rajendra's daughter was Amanga Devi, who was given in marriage to Raja Raja Narendra. So this is number 2. Amanga Devi given in marriage to Raja Raja Narendra. And that is the time when the Kalyana Chalukyas drove away Raja Raja Narendra from Vengi and put Vijayaditya on the throne. So who was the king of the Kalyana Chalukyas who supported Vijayaditya? This Jayasimha II. Jayasimha II, okay, or Jagadeka Malla. He is called also Jagadeka Malla, also known as Jagadeka Malla. So this Jagadeka Malla or Jayasimha II supported Vijayaditya, and the Kalyana Chalukyas were able to temporarily put Vijayaditya on the throne of Vengi. So since Raja Raja Narendra was a son-in-law of Rajendra and he had been driven away from Vengi, Rajendra became very angry. So he took his army and attacked Vengi Chalukyan kingdom, drove away Vijayaditya, and then he put Raja Raja Narendra back on the throne. Right, the son born to Raja Raja Narendra and Amanga Devi was Kulatunga. So this is number 3, Kulatunga. And Kulatunga became the joint ruler of Tamil and Telugu countries. He not only ruled over the Chola kingdom, but also over the Vengi Chalukyan kingdom. And he was the one who founded the city of Kulatunga Cholapuram, or modern Vizag, or Vishakhapatnam as it is called. So this is the gist of this topic. That is, Kalyana Chalukyas and Cholas interfered in Vengi politics. Rest all is information. Rest all is factual. Now come back here, right? So capital, of course, Manyakheta, Yatagiri, Kalyana. So initial capital Manyakheta, then Yatagiri or Yadgir, and then Kalyani or Kalyana. So on your screen, Tailapa. Taila was the founder who killed Karka II of the Rashtrakutas and captured Malkhed. Right? And then, of course, we have Satyashraya, also called Irava Bedanga. Irava Bedanga. Satyashraya, who patronized the Kannada poet Ranna, who wrote Gada Yuddha. So, Pampa, look here, Pampa, Ponna, these two were in the Rashtrakuta court. Rashtrakuta court. And Ranna was in the Kalyana Chalukya court. And these three are called the Trimurtis of Kannada literature, the triumvirate of Kannada literature. Right, Satyashraya. So patronized Kannada poet Ranna, who wrote Gada Yuddha. This is about Bhima and Duryodhana's war, Gada Yuddha. Gada is mace, isn't it? So Bhima's weapon was the mace, and even Duryodhana's weapon was the mace. And the Kauravas were losing. And then you know the story of the Mahabharata, isn't it? So you have Gandhari. Gandhari was not blind. She was the wife of Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was blind, but Gandhari, though she was having eyes, she had a vision. She had put a patti, what do you call, she had tied a cloth on her eyes. Then she tells Duryodhan, so you come, early morning you come, you take a bath and come in your birth suit. And I will open my eyes. I'll remove my, whatever cloth I have covered my eyes with for so many years. She was engaging in a lot of spiritual pursuits. And so she had a lot of powers with her. So she said, I'll transfer all my powers to you, my son, Duryodhan. So Duryodhan came, and then, she had asked him to come in his birth suit. He was an adult. So he comes in the morning after taking a bath, after doing Surya Namaskar and all that, and she opens her eyes, right, patti, and then she sees him and transfers all her powers to him. So his body becomes like a diamond. He becomes very, very strong, but the private part becomes weak, the thigh and the private part, because he has worn boxer shorts and come. She had asked him to come in his birth suit, and she reprimands him. I told you to come in your birth suit. Why the hell did you come wearing boxer shorts? So he says, I am an adult. How can I come naked like that? Anyway, later you remember the story is there where Bhima is fighting against Duryodhan, in a competition, in the mace competition, and Bhima was losing because nothing was happening to Duryodhan. Though Bhima was, hitting him with his mace. And then Krishna notices this. Krishna knew the background. Duryodhana is so strong because of the power transferred to him by his mother. But that thigh part was weak. So he tells Bhima, you aim below the belt. You hit his thighs. And then Bhima, though it's against the rules of the Yuddha, the rules of the war, he hits him below the belt, the thigh part, and Duryodhana is grievously injured. And that brings about his death also. So this story is there. This is Gada Yuddha, Ranna's Gada Yuddha. Right. Then we have, of course, Jayasimha II, also known as Jagadeka Malla. Right, I told you how he interfered in Vengi politics by supporting Vijayaditya, and then later Raja Rajendra drove away Vijayaditya and put his son-in-law Raja Narendra on the Vengi throne. So this Jayasimha II shifted the capital from Malkhed to Yatagiri. Yadgir, modern Yadgir, becomes the capital of the Kalyana Chalukyas. Then we have Someshwara the first. He shifted the capital to Kalyana. So initial capital was Malkhed, then Yatagiri or Yadgir, and finally Kalyana. So that becomes a permanent capital of the Kalyana Chalukyas, Kalyana. So Someshwara fought against the Cholas and he killed Raja Chola at Koppal. So Koppal is a place in Karnataka. So Raja Chola was killed in the battle by Someshwara the first. But then so the Cholas were losing. But then something happened in the midst of the war. You have the crown prince, the son of Raja Chola. If I remember correctly, Rajendra II. He took control of the Chola army and he fought bravely against the Kalyana Chalukyas and stopped further damage of the Cholas. Later, the Cholas challenged Someshwara to battle. They again challenged the Kalyana Chalukyas to battle, but Someshwara never came out to fight against the Cholas. What is the reason? The reason is he was suffering from an incurable disease. Someshwara was suffering from an incurable disease. So though the Cholas challenged Someshwara, Someshwara did not accept that challenge. The reason is not that he was afraid of the Cholas, he was suffering from an incurable disease and he could not withstand the pain. So he jumped into the Tungabhadra and committed suicide. And that is called Parama Yoga. So by drowning himself, he performed Parama Yoga and he died. Someshwara the first. Right? Then Vikramaditya the sixth. So he was the greatest of the Kalyana Chalukya kings. He started the Kalyana Chalukya era in 1076. So he comes to power in 1076. Kalyana Chalukya era. And he patronized a number of scholars. One was Bilhana, who was from Kashmir. So Bilhana was his court poet, Bilhana, who wrote Chaura Panchashika, Vikramanka Deva Charita. So these are the books written by Bilhana, Chaura Panchashika, Vikramanka Deva Charita. And then, of course, Vigneshwara. He patronized Vigneshwara, who wrote Mitakshara. So this was a UPSC prelims question asked. I'll show you the question later. We'll do the questions. So Vigneshwara was one of the scholars patronized by Vikramaditya VI. So he writes a law book called Mitakshara. According to this Mitakshara, even now it is applicable throughout India. This is about succession law, succession to property, a law regarding succession to ancestral property. So according to Mitakshara, written by Vigneshwara, the successor to the ancestral property can bequeath the property when the father is still alive. So this law is even now applicable throughout India except Bengal and Assam. In Bengal and Assam, we have the Dayabaga law written by Jimutavahana, which is applicable even now. So according to Dayabaga law, the successor to the ancestral property can bequeath the property only after the death of the father. Okay, so this was a question asked in the UPSC prelims. I mentioned it here, Mitakshara. It's a legal commentary on the Yagnavalkya Smriti. So according to it, successor gets the rights over the ancestral property even when the father is alive. So this is applicable throughout India except Bengal and Assam, where Dayabaga law is applicable, right? So his queen was Chandala Devi, who was well versed in dance, music, fine arts, and therefore called Abhinava Saraswati. And the commander of this Vikramaditya VI was Mahadeva, who built a temple at a place called Itagi. It is called Mahadeva Temple at Itagi in the Koppal district of Karnataka, which is called Devalaya Chakravarti. This temple is called Devalaya Chakravarti, the emperor among temples, Mahadeva Temple at Itagi. in the Koppal district of Karnataka. So are you there with me, all of you? What is Dayabaga? Dayabaga, Rajneesh. Dayabaga is a person who is supposed to bequeath the property, ancestral property, can bequeath the property of his ancestors only after the death of his own father. So that is called Dayabaga law, right? So this is about it. Then we come here. Someshwara the third, another king. So he wrote an encyclopedia called Manasa Ullasa, compiled an encyclopedia in Sanskrit called Manasa Ullasa or Abhilashi Tartha Chintamani. Abhilashi Tartha Chintamani. Right? These words might be difficult for you to pronounce. That's why I said divide it into 2 or 3 parts, and then you'll be able to understand better. Then the last king was Someshwara the fourth, who was killed by Billama, the Yadava king Billama. So the Kalyana Chalukya territories got divided amongst the Yadavas, the Hoysalas, and the Kakatiyas. So we have 3 portions into which the Kalyana Chalukya territories got divided into. We have the Yadavas who ruled from Devagiri in Maharashtra, the Hoysalas who ruled from Belur and later Halebid as their capitals. And then we have the Kakatiyas who ruled from Warangal as their capital. So Kakatiyas ruled from Warangal. So this is about the Kalyana Chalukyas. Right? Are you there with me? All of you? Can we go to the next chapter? Cholas. All of you clear? You're right. You're right. Kulatunga. Deepesh, you're right. Kulatunga was mainly a Vengi Chalukyan ruler. Right. Yes, you're right. Very much. But then he began to rule even over the Tamil country. Stephen, is Warangal now called Telangana? Warangal, if I'm right, it is still in Andhra. Telangana would be where your Hyderabad area is. Karthik, I'll come to that. Hold on. Why they are called Imperial? Udayarani, Jadhav of Maharashtra. So Yadavas of Devagiri. Yeah, you're right. Udayarani, you're right. Shivaji's mother's side traced their descent from the Yadavas of Devagiri. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's mother's side, that is Jijabai's descendants, were supposedly serving under the Yadava kings of Devagiri. So therefore called Jadav also. So Warangal is in Telangana. Okay. If it is in Telangana, I stand corrected then. I don't know how many districts come under Telangana, how many are in Andhra. I'm not very familiar with that. It's been ages since I went there or thought about it. So we'll come back here. The Imperial Cholas. So the Cholas, you can see here, their emblem was the tiger. Their emblem was a tiger. So they are called imperial. Why are they called imperial? Because what is imperialism? Projection of power far beyond their immediate geographical boundaries. Projection of power far beyond their immediate geographical boundaries. So the Cholas, you can see the map here. This is the Cholas, Chola kingdom. Tanjavur was their capital. Tanjore or Tanjavur was their capital. And the Cholas conquer major parts of South India. At different times, they conquered also parts of Gujarat, Malwa. Then they conquered the entire Sri Lanka, Maldives, Lakshadweep, parts of Southeast Asia. That is Indonesia, Malaya, what is called Malaysia now, southern Thailand, Cambodia. And they ruled over that areas. They dominated those areas for more than 100 years. For about more than 100 years, they dominated those areas, and therefore they are called imperial. And this area from Kanyakumari to Bay of Bengal, to Bay of Bengal became a Chola lake. This was converted into a Chola lake. So they had a very powerful navy, the Cholas. So this became a Chola lake, the Bay of Bengal, virtually Chola lake. And this area came to be called Chola Mandalam. Chola Mandalam. The anglicized name is Coromandel. Now it is called Coromandel Coast. Coromandel. So this is the introduction to this topic, Cholas. Now, what is the connection between the Sangam Cholas and the Imperial Cholas? We don't know. You see, in the Sangam age, look here, understand this. Sangam age is roughly from the 3rd century BC. The dates vary, so don't take the dates very seriously and don't think I'm wrong here. Roughly 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD, a period of about 600 years. This is the Sangam age. Now we have 3 Tamil kingdoms during that period, isn't it? Cholas were there, the Cheras were there, and the Pandyas, the Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas. And we come to know about these 3 Tamil kingdoms from the so-called Sangam literature. We come to know about them through what is known as Sangam literature. Now, we have done the Sangam age as part of post-Maurya period, ancient India. We have done it. Now, you see, we have a group of evil rulers. So these Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas, whichever area they were ruling, that area came under the rule of a group of evil rulers. So we have evil rulers, a group of them called Kalabhras. Understand this, Kalabhras. In Tamil, it is called Kallapillar. Kallapillar. So these Kallapillars or Kalabhras began to rule that area, which was earlier ruled by the Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas. And for how many years they ruled? For almost about 400 years, 400 to 450 years they ruled. These Kalabhras or Kallapillars. Then later we have an alliance of the Pandyas. So Pandyas, an alliance of the Pandyas, Pallavas, and Chalukyas. So these 3 powers, understand this please, these 3 powers, an alliance of the Pandyas, Pallavas, Chalukyas joined together and defeated the Kalabhras. They overthrew the Kalabhras. And like a phoenix, we have the Cholas again coming back. Okay, and they began to rule from middle of the 8th, middle of the 9th century AD onwards. So the Cholas again came back and they began to rule from the middle of the 9th century AD onwards. Now, what is the connection between the early medieval Cholas, who are called Imperial Cholas, and the Sangam Cholas? There is no connection. There's absolutely no connection between the Sangam Cholas and the later Cholas or the Imperial Cholas. So you cannot claim that the Cholas ruled continuously from the Sangam age onwards. No, because almost for 400 years, we don't know anything about the Sangam Cholas. And then suddenly we have the Cholas coming back. And they initially served as the feudatories under the Pallavas. The Imperial Cholas or the later Cholas served under the Pallavas as feudatories. So the Cholas were under the Pallavas, right? And later we have a Chola king called Aditya the First. Aditya Chola. So this Aditya killed his master Aparajita Pallava. So Aditya the First of the Cholas killed his master Aparajita Pallava and proclaimed the independence of the Cholas. So Cholas became independent from the time of Aditya the First. Independent from whom? From the Pallavas, right? And that's how we begin this particular chapter. So the Imperial Pallavas or the Imperial Cholas or the Great Cholas. So did you understand? Hello, please raise your hands. Did you understand? Vijayaditya was from Vengi. He was one of the contenders to the throne of Vengi, Zeba. Zeba, you're thinking about Vijayaditya when I'm discussing Cholas. That's why you have not understood whatever I told you. See, I said there's no connection between the Sangam Cholas and the great Cholas or the Imperial Cholas. Sangam Cholas ruled during the Sangam period. And after the Sangam age, we have a group of evil rulers called Kalabras who ruled for about 400 years. Then we have a combination of an alliance of the Pandyas, the Pallavas, and the Chalukyas who supplanted the Kalabras, who overthrew the Kalabras. And then we have again the Pandyas ruling, coming back, the Pallavas coming back, the Pallavas ruling, and the Chalukyas ruling, right? And the Cholas also came back from the middle of the 9th century. They begin to rule with Tanjavur or Tanjore as their capital, right? This is what I was discussing. Dhyana, we don't know. See, Dhyana, where were the Cholas while fighting with Calabras? So we don't know. So you see, most of the history of the Cholas has been reconstructed on the basis of conjecture, guesswork. We have very less information. We have an expert on South Indian history called Professor K. Nilakanta Shastri. So Professor K. Nilakanta Shastri has done extensive research on about the Cholas, and he is the one who has reconstructed the history of the Cholas to a large extent, including a person called Kudavayil Balasubramaniam. So these scholars have done extensive research, and they have told us that the history of the Cholas is very, very meager. There's no connected history. So we get a lot of information about the Cholas from the inscriptions, from the land grants, from the coins, and also from books, from some Tamil books, literary sources. So so to get a connected history of Cholas is very, very difficult because the sources are dispersed, at the same time very, very less, disjointed, dispersed, disjointed. So we have to reconstruct the history of the Cholas. Rather, the history of the Cholas has been reconstructed on the basis of conjecture or intelligent guesswork, right? So there is no clarity regarding the history of the Cholas, though they were ruling in the early medieval times. Are you there with me? So this is the introduction to this topic. I have almost run out of time. So any doubts, any question here? Raja was a part of the imperial Cholas. So I'll start from here to tomorrow's class. I've almost run out of time. Any doubts, any questions? Right? So you have a great day. Any doubts, you can mail me always. I hope you had no technical issues today. All of you, clear? No technical issues here. So here, please understand, I always tell this, whenever there's a factual topic, whenever it's factual, I can't go line by line. I'm giving you the overall picture and I'm discussing a few things. Okay, so the idea is to help you understand, give you the overall picture and help you understand. So I might have gone a little fast here and there, but because of the factual nature of the topic, right? Hemlata, not everything is important. Whatever I'm discussing, I've given you most of the information here in the PPTs. Most important are here. You might find something important in the textbook when you read a textbook. Read one textbook, you don't have time to read more than one. So ancient India, medieval India, Satish Chandra, R.S. Sharma, read that and supplement that with these PPTs and my class lecture. That should be sufficient. And keep a track of the current affairs, current events from newspapers, magazines. So try to update yourself, right? Of course, Byju's Current Affairs magazine is also there. So keep doing that and then keep reading. We will finish this topic, Cholas, and then, of course, Hoysalas, Pandyas, Kakatiyas tomorrow, and then come to Delhi Sultanate. So tomorrow we will do all those things. You have a great day and a safe day. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much. Good day. Bye. I'm logging out. Skandagupta was set up a pillar of victory at Bithari. Skandagupta, installed a pillar of victory pillar at Bithari in Madhya Pradesh. Right? Yashodharma comes later, early part of the 8th century, Yashodharman comes. And Yashodharman claims to have defeated the Guptas. Okay. Modera's sun temple was built by Bhimdev. Stephen Bhimdev. Now, Musharraf, don't go by this movie, Ponniyin Selvan movie came. I have not seen that movie, frankly. But then you don't confuse commercial cinema with history, real history, what is there in the history books, right? So I don't need to discuss Ponniyin. I have not seen that movie, frankly. So therefore, I don't know about Ponniyin Selvan, though I have heard about it. A lot of students came and asked me many questions. Some fantastic stories are there that the Cholas are still living in some island in Southeast Asia. They're waiting to attack in and conquer India. Such things are there in movies. This is not true, so don't believe them, right? So just stick to the history textbooks. Whatever is there in the history textbooks. Thank you. You take a good, have a good day. We'll meet tomorrow. Carry on.